It's gonna
We are
be
live.
live from New York. Right.
We are live.
Thursday Night Live. Dun, 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 dun. Three guys walked into a bar. They all said ow. Ooh, Eve. I'm trying to get Eve's attention. That's a lot of good comments. Look at that. That's really great. I love it. They had a
Some of the comments, stupid.
Right. Well, you're gonna have those, but
That's the way it goes.
yeah.
One's got more
Gotta take
good
the
ones and bad ones, that's all.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta take the good with the bad, but I'm just happy that there's, I mean, look at all these responses that we
I know,
got.
it's glad
That's
too.
that's awesome. Wow. This is amazing.
Call the meeting to order. If everybody could please stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, will we have roll call, please?
Councilman Norman,
Present.
Councilman Stahl,
Present.
Councilwoman Tran. Here. Councilman Hicks,
Here.
President Peters,
Here.
Councilman Hayes,
Present.
Councilman Daniels,
Present.
Councilman Lee.
Here.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes from the February 15th meeting? Any corrections or concerns or anything? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Public hearing, there is none tonight. Communications and announcements. First off, real quick, we do have a fire levy coming up March 12th. Just want to let everybody know that. The 19th, I'm sorry. Ahead of myself. All these primaries, you just can't keep up.
Ain't that
Just want to let everybody know that this levy, if it does pass, it'll be for 7 years. It's not eternity, so after 7 years, we'll revamp this as a council and go along there. Second thing, did everybody take a look at the mayor's appointment for planning?
Yes. Yes.
Anybody have any concerns? If not, Did I get a yay or a nay? So everybody in favor?
This is for Joe Mosier?
Oh, yeah, for
Planning
Joe
Commission.
Mosier.
Was that the only appointment at this point, at this time?
Yes.
Yes, I still have to appoint civil service, but the resignation does not take effect until next month. So
Okay.
the gentleman will still be on until next month.
Okay.
So he'll be at the March meeting.
Okay.
That just passed through. Or,
The April meeting.
Okay. So all in favor for this appointment?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, Joe's appointed. Okay, next up is Downtown Festivals discussion. I think we'll go ahead and, go ahead, Pat.
I thought we would have our executive assistant Eve Breedlove give her PowerPoint presentation first, because we feel that that could maybe answer a lot of questions, or at least give some idea of how the data came back, and it's a wonderful presentation. So I would ask that she start off first, and then we'll get into a discussion, and then let the town hall begin and people can get up and speak.
All right, perfect. Eve,
Thank you.
if you don't mind?
Can we hear me? Got the lapel mic.
I think so.
Would it be okay if I sat up right here? Because I just have a lot of papers. That's okay. I'm going to put it online. But it's there. All right. So it's a little difficult for the PowerPoint and y'all and the people here, so I don't want you to feel like my back is literally to you. I apologize, doing my best to navigate the layout of the room. Can everybody hear me all right? Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm here today to discuss the results of our recent event feedback survey, which focused specifically on street closure events in downtown London. As you know, these events can bring vibrancy and energy to our city center. However, we've also heard mixed feedback from the community about their impact. To get a clear understanding of your perspective, we conducted this survey to gather your feedback directly. In addition to the public survey, we also met with our dedicated safety services departments and esteemed members of City Council to gather a well-rounded perspective on this topic. This initiative aligns with our commitment to fostering open and transparent communication between citizens and the city. We believe citizen voices matter. Their input is essential for making informed decisions. We're incredibly grateful to the many residents who took the time to participate in the survey. This level of engagement demonstrates a strong desire to be involved in the shaping of our city's future. I'm excited to share the key findings from the survey and offer a glimpse into the city's plan moving forward. We aim to strike a balance, ensuring our events are enjoyable and successful while also minimizing disruption for residents and downtown. See if this will work for me. No. Sorry, technology. Is it over here? Is there a certain place I need to point it? No. Would you mind if I drive? Can we turn the laptop? Sure. Is it on the side? Yeah, and it's lighting up too when I press the button, so it's got power and everything. It's just not doing the right thing. That's okay.
And I did get it to show up on the recording.
Where is, oh, there's your mouse. All right. And we are here. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Let's see if this works. Fantastic. All right. On February 24th, 2024, we published a survey to gather responses regarding street closure events in downtown London. The survey was shared by others over 60 times, with numerous comments being generated on most posts. We again shared this information about the survey on February 26th, March 2nd, and March 4th. I know many of you also shared the survey on many other dates as well. We got that information out there. From this, we gathered 497 survey responses, of which 21 were from downtown business owners. I have a couple slides now to show you some of the results of your feedback. So we're starting with Old Fashioned Christmas. On the event survey, you'll notice that it was asked how satisfied you were with events, if you had not attended it, et cetera, et cetera. Old Fashioned Christmas, here you go. The next bit of information was, would you attend if it was downtown? Would you attend if it was moved out of downtown? I provided both graphs. People absorb information differently. So both of these are the same data points, it's just presented differently, so you might like the left one or the right one. Also, this whole presentation will be available electronically, so don't feel like you have to memorize everything that you're seeing tonight. You can go over it at your leisure later. Next up is the Strawberry Festival. I did leave some space for people to tell me that they had not attended the event. So that is also on there, that little sliver over there. Again, would you attend if it was downtown? Would you attend if it was moved? And then we went on to Rhythm and Rib Fest. And would you attend if it was downtown? Would you attend if it was moved? Next slide is our downtown businesses. I did receive 21 surveys from our downtown businesses. And this is the percentage that said they would like the events moved out of downtown, or they would like the events kept in downtown. So of the 497 surveys recorded, 33 gave no response to the question of, do you want the festivals to stay downtown or would you like them to be moved from downtown? 59 surveys stated they were in favor of moving street closure events out of downtown. And 405 surveys stated they were in favor of keeping the street closure events in downtown. Pardon? That was other, right? Gave no response. No, that was no response. So there was an option for other, and typically when people wrote in other, they wrote in, I don't like the festivals in downtown, so I counted that as they would like them moved. They gave a key, or it's just they didn't fill it out at all. They skipped it in its entirety. So, building on the valuable insights we gained from this survey, I'm excited to share the city's new plan for events in downtown London. We understand that these events create a unique energy in our city, but it's crucial to find the right balance. That's why we approach this plan with a multifaceted lens, considering safety, accessibility, and the well-being of downtown businesses, resident needs, and the experience of visitors who travel specifically for these events. This plan incorporates regulations for street closures, vendor and structure placement, staging areas, event end times, and parades. I'd like to present some slides that will delve deeper into the specifics of these regulations. It's important to note that this plan is a living document, and we remain committed to ongoing communication and collaboration. We welcome your continued feedback as we continue to make London's downtown events even more enjoyable and successful for everyone. With that, London event plan for downtown. We have event regulations, street closure updates, vendor and structure placement, staging areas, event end expectations, and parade routes. Council members, I did provide you with a folder that has these regulations printed out and handed over to you as well if you would like to review those. We are starting with the event setup. So this is a very minimal map of downtown London. We have our streets here. The areas in the City of London maroon red color are the areas that you have to set up in. We have made some necessary changes based on the feedback that we received. All additional structures such as vendor booths, food trucks, signage must be at least 10 feet from every intersection corner. This is for safety. We need to be able to make sure that our safety services can get downtown in the event that they are needed. All additional structures must maintain a 15-foot distance from the curb and be set up within the street with the front entry facing the downtown buildings. So you are going down the middle of the street, facing the downtown buildings. The intersection of Main Street and 2nd Street must be entirely clear of any setup. This is also for our safety services to make sure that they can get where they need to go in a very timely fashion without injuring anybody that is attending these events. Barricades at 1st Street and Main Street must not impede the traffic flow on said streets. They need to be on the internal sides of these streets. During street closures, all vehicle traffic, including that of event organizers and vendors, is strictly prohibited. The staging area for concerts, pageants, shows, and similar events is designated near Main Street and High Street facing towards 2nd Street. It is the only part of the City of London maroon red color that has a word on it. Staging area must also maintain a 10-foot clearance of intersection corners. And all elements brought in for the event must be removed no later than 11 p.m. on the final night of the event. Everything is removed by 11 p.m. on your very last event night. This is the parade route. Considering that no vehicle traffic is allowed during street closures, we want to present you with the parade route that we feel is the best. Following the required parade route, you will start on Park Ave. We will have Park Ave from Main to Walnut will be blocked off for parade assembly, for gathering, for the things that you need to be doing. You'll then go from Park Ave, turning onto Main, heading towards East 4th, turn onto East 4th, head towards North Walnut, go from North Walnut back to Park Ave, end where you began at Park Ave. Some other things that I would like to share with you are the city actions. So, one of the things that we've done is we've created the event plan, which I have shared with you, which is a living document, and we are continuing to work on for cohesion, safety, accessibility of our downtown events. Another thing that I am excited to share is the ease of permit application with a new online form. Forms are now virtually available. You can fill them out online. You can still come in and visit anytime that you would like, but you do not have to. You have this accessible online. Increased communication ahead of events. One of the feedback concerns that people had given was that they just didn't know these things were happening. If they had known, they were going to be able to plan better. They could grocery shop ahead of time. They could not plan to do something that day where it needs a detour. So we are committed to increased communication ahead of the events. We will be utilizing the social media page, the City of London government page, if you're not following that. We have the new website where we will be able to put out alerts, put up a banner, let you know, hey, this information is available to you. Also, we have the City of London, Ohio app, which would then send a banner alert directly to your phone. So when we do have street closures, things that are going to affect you, we'll be able to tell you directly if you have that app. We're also working on accessible parking measures for downtown events. Another piece of vital feedback was people stating, I have handicap parking and there's nowhere for me to go when I would like to attend events or when I would like to still shop downtown. So that is a piece that we are also working on. That is the entire conclusion of the presentation that I had. At this point, we would like to hear feedback. Council or
Start with
audience,
council first.
either one.
Does anybody up here have any questions or comments?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Yes.
It does look like the area is smaller than what we've used in the past. We've been able to go past First Street, or the festivals have went past First down to the railroad tracks, but that looks like that's been shortened up. And we think everything will fit, or they'll just have to make it fit?
I believe that they'll be able to make it fit. The dimensions that were utilized to make this plan included 62 10 by 10 vendor tents. And then there is the additional area, the parking is still available for where the rides are. I do believe that it can fit.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that came up when we were talking is the street closure itself. And if we have been doing it properly. And I think it's, I never did really get an answer. Previously, are we closing the streets properly? Are we detouring the traffic properly? And if we aren't, if we haven't been moving forward, are we, I mean, I'm assuming we're going to address that issue. And what does that look like?
Yeah, so there was concerns that the event organizers were not contacting ODOT. And so that is another communication part where we need to start meeting with the event organizers earlier and start making sure that all these steps are being taken so we do have the correct street closures, that ODOT, the main thing, is that they are communicated to and they have all the information. So that's another piece to this whole plan.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure we brought that up because it's, you know, as it was explained to me, if we don't detour them right and they go down one of our streets and tear something up, the city's held responsible for it. And I don't think we want to have that kind of situation.
I like keeping it downtown and making it more safe, even if we have to change the parade route. And it makes it more compliant and more courteous to the business owners.
Thank you.
And speaking of safety, can I add something else? So that was one of the things that was talked about was, you know, safety is always a big concern. And that's where Eve was talking about so far off the corners, nothing in the intersection. When we sat down, Councilman Norman was there, brought some good maps of how to set the festival up, and it was discussed with the safety services. Fire and EMS had concerns that if there was a structure fire on one of the larger buildings, being able to get the ladder truck down there could be difficult. And that's why we're wanting to make sure that we're setting them off the corners, that they're so far back on the roads. Also, when we talk about putting things down the middle, his concern was if a large building was on fire and he had to pull the ladder truck down the middle, the angle to get the ladder up would not be the correct angle. So what would happen now, God forbid, if one of those large, beautiful buildings caught on fire, they would go on the opposite side of the structure fire and then put the ladder, clear everybody out, put the ladder up and over top of all the vendors in the middle and be able to fight the fire correctly. And that was a big safety concern. Did you want to add anything to that, Mr. Norman?
Did I look like that?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Well, I was just going to say that I wish Todd was here, but one of the things he mentioned was having them close to the curb if that building should fall.
Yeah.
Those vendors, there's no protection there with them. So we're creating that 15-foot to the curb, and then, you know, the sidewalks themselves are what, about 10 feet. So you got about 25 feet of evacuation area that can be done. And then, like you said, we're going to clear out that middle too. But it's definitely, that was one of the big reasons to kind of move it to the middle. It is all about pretty much the safety at this point.
And personally, for me, it's about also accessibility, just making sure that the accessible measures that we do have in place downtown with our ramps and our sidewalks are available to those that need them. People with mobility aids, people with mobility needs and assistance, having those sidewalks is pretty vital.
Now, is there a cost to get a pool permit to close? I mean, is there a cost, a price to pool permit to close the roads for a festival or?
actually do not, I didn't bring that other one with me.
So-
The permit itself doesn't have a cost, but there are costs within the special event permit that typically come up.
So we're talking about trash, right? You gotta pay for trash, you have to pay for water, you have to pay for, the street department, road closures.
You can
After,
use
after the
auxiliary.
event is cleaned up, bringing the, street sweeper through, all of those kind of things, as well as off-duty police officers. So there are costs involved that go back to the city, but like she said, there's not a fee when you hand the application in. It's all these smaller fees for the things that the city is doing for this festival.
And this,
And we've been doing that, that's been done for a few years now. You guys passed all that, so.
now this isn't just for the Rib Fest or the Strawberry Festival. Some other organization would want to have something downtown for a special event. They could do the same, correct?
This would be the guidelines that they'd have to go
For
by.
anybody,
So
right.
it doesn't matter what, pumpkin show, pineapple show, whatever.
Specifically
whatever-
street
Whatever show you
closure
wanna have.
events.
If there are street closures.
Right, if
Yes.
it's a street closure, this is
Yeah.
the setup. And the other thing that came up too is for public safety was, we're setting these up exactly the same every time. The response time is gonna be quicker. They're not gonna be guessing, where everything is. They're going to pretty much know where it is. And we all know response time's everything.
Yes.
And so to have a set in place setup, it just works. So,
Will the 4th of July parade still cut off at 4th Street?
So we haven't gotten that far because that is a rolling stop, so it's not, but that'll need to be discussed. We were wanting to talk about events where the roads are barricaded off and shut down, right? Because the road's still open during the Fourth of July parade, the roads are still open. It's just a rolling stop at that point for High Street, so.
So this parade route that you have is just if the downtown's closed for an
This
event.
was just for those three events right now, but 4th of July parade can be talked about and whatever council wants to do or whatever we come up with as a group is fine.
And if somebody wants to hold a festival outside downtown, at Allen Park or something, is there a special permit for that?
Yeah, there's festival permits, yes.
Anybody else?
Because, Mr. Mars does one for Merrimack for the 5K, which the marathon, which is coming up real soon. So if anybody'd like to run in the marathon or a 5K, Mr. Mars is here tonight. It's a free plug for you.
Anybody else have anything up here? Audience, does anybody want to ask any questions?
Eve,
If you can come up to the,
either have them come up or just have them take the mic to them.
Okay.
How does this affect the Friday night food truck thing downtown? Because they park along the curb. And two, how are they gonna do the Cobra show? Because that blocks off part of downtown.
So I would just say the shop hops, there are, the shop hops, there's no road closure.
No road closure, but they're parking along the curb and no parking zones.
For the most part, they park in the yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not parking, but most of them do not park in parking spots. I'm the one who puts it together.
Yeah, but if we would go down there and park like that, we'd get a top citation.
Correct, but they're there temporarily and they always must maintain a presence with the truck. So there's always somebody there that if there's something that's needed, they can move immediately. That's one of our requirements.
Yeah, that was just one question I have. And then about the Cobra show, because that affects part of the Strawberry Festival and that extends past where the guidelines were for this.
Right. And we'll work with the Cobra show. One thing we do not want to do is lose the Cobras. Not by any means.
That's a lot of money for the city.
They are, and they're a fantastic organization, and we're looking at that and how we want to set that up and make sure that's safe. But, please don't worry that we're going to be like, well, no, Cobras go. The Cobras will stay. We'll figure it out. And then plus on that, you know, it's kind of like Cobras are in a way kind of like old-fashioned Christmas, right? So it's just for 6 a.m. till 2 p.m., right? So it's only a 6-hour event or whatever it is, kind of like old-fashioned Christmas is really only a 6-hour road closure or whatever. So we'll definitely help accommodate with that and make sure that they're here and probably in the same place. Yeah.
Thank you. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I'm going to walk around with the mic so we can get it. Blah. All right.
Yeah, the parade route. And it's basically, I noticed it starts at Cowling and runs down, crosses over by the Methodist church there and just goes through the residential area and then back down to Cowling. I mean, of the 3 major events, we're the only one that has parade. Not sure, yeah, I'm not sure why anybody would be in the parade if it doesn't go through the festival. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because in the past, what we've done is we run the parade right through the festival, and then we stop basically right out here. And there's plenty of parking back here, so there's, you know, we have not had any problems. You're going to be blocking off the street on both sides there, going north, or going north and south at the hospital where you have emergency rooms. So a little curious if they've been contacted about that, because you're going to, you know, those floats and those kids and all that stuff coming back down to the Cowling Park's going to go right by where the emergency room is, or that entrance. And you're basically not running it through the festival, which just doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's just something that we probably should think about. I mean, that's, you know, we can still, you know, we consider moving the stage down to at the end of the main street anyway, with a 20-foot opening to get the parade through there anyway. But I'm not real sure why that would have to be moved based on what I've just seen on the maps. So
Absolutely. So the reason why that needs to be moved is coming back to safety. It is just not safe to run any vehicle traffic through the street closure event. When it is closed, it's closed to vehicle traffic. So with that in mind, we collaborated with safety services and all the other departments that we could to come up with a solution that would still get you to be able to have a parade without jeopardizing safety.
And also with the hospital, the emergency entrance is on Main Street, not on Park Avenue.
So, and then also, that's where we stage for the 4th of July parade. And Madison Health has always been a real good partner. And how we set it up is you set it on one side of the road. You make sure that there is space for people to pull in, still get into the hospital. I believe, is your parade on a Saturday? Yeah. Yeah. So just like, same thing with the 4th of July parade, because it's Saturday or a holiday, it's kind of the same. And we put up signage that says, you know, road open for the hospital, and then we have police there, and they will direct them in and keep the entrance open to make sure that if someone has to get into that section of the hospital, that it is accessible to be able to get in.
So as far as the parade goes, the Strawberry Festival parade is huge. And the years past, we've always lined up on Main Street in like 4 rows. So how is that going to, is that stuff that's still going to be able to happen?
Well, so
And how are we going to get all those Disney queens from the park? They now have to come the whole way back around to the stage immediately after the parade ends.
okay, well, these are things that, like Eve said, this is a working document, okay? So we need to sit down and discuss these things. The biggest thing that Eve was talking about and the safety services was concerned about is putting vehicles into the middle of a festival when people are walking around, or all of a sudden your foot slips off the brake and hits the gas or whatever, brakes go out. I mean, anything could happen, and they want to cut down on all those what ifs and just make sure that the people in the festival are safe. And that's what this parade route is what we came up with as an initial.
Is that something you get with like the city of Circleville when they do the pumpkin show? They run parades every
So just want to, real quick, when we're giving feedback, please raise your hand and I'll bring you the mic because we can't hear for everybody else that's watching. They have no idea what you guys are saying.
Right in the back.
So
right in the back.
I know you've had your hand up for a minute.
So so this is just a thought. I have, I have this first time I've seen this also, but the parade route starting at Park and Main, everybody's gonna leave that area and it'll be cleared up before everybody comes in on the back side. So you would think at least part of that road's gonna be open at any time.
Okay, couple things. First of all, as an organizer of the Strawberry Festival, not one of us were contacted for input on this. Secondly, you're talking safety. Every event in Ohio that I know of runs their parade right down through the middle of the festival. So you're saying that the City of London is better than every other city in the state of Ohio and surrounding states at safety because we're now going to run it around.
Sure.
And the understanding of what we're talking about with these visiting royalty, we have about 150 visiting guests that come in for the parade. As soon as the parade ends, these girls disembark. They are in formals and heels. They walk back to our stage, introduce themselves, and talk about their festival, which our girls in turn do at their festivals, promoting the City of London. You're now having these girls dumped off down at Cowling Park and somehow having to get the whole way back up to where that stage is laid out. So that traffic essentially is going to go through twice, and you're going to have all these girls disembarking at a major intersection instead of disembarking here where they normally do. So I do have some concerns about this. And one of the big concerns is that none of us were consulted. And that based on this layout, it looks like we're being made to be a carbon copy of Jazz and Rib.
Can I just say something? That's not really correct when you say you weren't contacted. I personally went to your website. I used your contact information from my council member account and sent an email in January and said, hey, we're going to be talking about this. I'd like to hear from you. I didn't hear from you. I got no email.
So when we came to the meeting and talked to you face to face,
right,
you point blank told us we were not invited to this meeting.
No, I did not say you weren't invited to this meeting. Not to this meeting, ma'am. I said that you were not allowed. I didn't even say you weren't allowed. We had a planning meeting. You were not invited to that. That is correct. That you weren't invited to that. But now we have the town hall meeting, and like it's been said, this is a living document. It's not etched in stone. Your ideas are taken into consideration. I agree with you. That is kind of funky that we've got it coming down and the girls have to come up. Can we work something out where maybe, as you swing up there, the pageant girls go ahead and come off the parade route, but the non-essential parade members go on through? That could be done.
3/4 of our parade disembarks before they ever get halfway through the parade.
Okay, so they disembark. Is there an issue with that? Especially if you bring it down and you turn it right at the stage. Actually, we're dropping them right off at your stage if we make that adjustment. I'm sorry?
They missed 3/4 of the parade based on that layout.
Who misses 3/4 of the parade?
The Queens.
Okay, well, I
Okay,
got it. So, like we said, it is a living document. We are here to discuss it, and I think anyone who knows me, I want to hear what you say, and I want what you want as much as we can do it. But the bottom line comes down: we have to meet in the middle somewhere. Not everybody's going to get what they want. We're not going to get what we want. You're not going to get what you want. But we want to meet in the middle somewhere. So we're not saying, hey, this is etched in stone. You will do this. I mean, if we were going to do that, we wouldn't even have this meeting tonight. we'd have just said, here it is. This is how we're gonna do it. But that's not what we're doing. So, you know, and like I said, you were contacted by me for your input in January.
January, okay? And I can tell you now why you didn't receive anything, and this is my own fault. I'm the secretary. I had knee surgery, had a complete knee replacement, so no, I wasn't checking our emails.
Well, again, but when you come in and you factually say, we were not contacted, that makes us sound like we did not contact you. And I take offense to that because I did contact you, because I do want to hear from you.
There's no reason why a Strawberry representative should not be invited to the planning meeting, that we were not included.
That was simply an internal office meeting. This is where you were invited. You have been welcomed, and we are listening to your feedback.
Okay, that internal office meeting, how many other events had a representative there based on who is within the office?
No.
Okay, so she's talking about me, so I helped put on the Rhythm and Rib Fest. Like I said, we didn't even talk about the 4th of July parade, but the 4th of July parade is put on by the City of London. So with that being said, I'm pretty good at taking hats off and putting them on. I do a lot of things around this community. I sit on about 20 different boards. So I'm able to do my job as a mayor. And the planning meeting, and Mr. Norman can attest to this, I really didn't talk. It was more about the safety services and getting their input, and then talking about what this survey was going to look like. Well, and Mr. Norman at that meeting said that he emailed and he said nobody got back to him. So,
But
I think we can just put that behind us. Right. That, you know, it is what it is what it is now. Here is what has that we came up with. Here's what some council members had their input on this, and it's a living document. I don't think you need to get so defensive because we want to work with you. You know, I think the biggest thing was from the Strawberry Festival and talking to some people that it was going to get moved out of downtown. And we're not looking to do that now. It sounds like the majority of businesses want it down there. Overwhelmingly, the citizens want it down there. So we're going to listen to them. We're going to keep it downtown, and we want to make sure that it's safe and that we're doing it right. And we're not saying that London is better than anybody or that London is safer than anybody. What we're saying is we listen to our police chief, we listen to our fire and EMS chief, and this is what they're telling us.
I also just want to point out that some of the new event regulations affect Rhythm and Rib as well. They have to change the way that they're doing some things also. You had your hand up for a question? Here, let me bring you the mic. Hold on. We have a lot that people online aren't being able to hear. Here, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to understand. So is the parade ending at, it looks like E here, which is Park Street, which is behind Madison Health Emergency Room. That's where the parade is ending.
Emergency room is right here. So
Right.
This is their parking lot, so it would be on this side over here.
Right, so that's where everybody would follow up, and that's where they would come back and conjoin
According
together.
to this document,
This
yes.
document. Now, this is up for debate.
Living
And I'm just saying here that currently the parade route does not go into downtown London. I'm seeing that it turns at East 4th Street.
This is the proposed parade route. Currently, it does go through the festival when they are closed downtown.
Okay, okay.
Street 247.
It is.
Yes. No, I agree. I'm just trying to understand where the route is.
Did you had your hand up at one point? Did you still have a question? You have a question? Yes. I will be right back here. Yes, sir.
I just think the survey should have been focused more on the people affected in the road closures versus the whole city, because somebody 3 blocks away doesn't have a business or live downtown that's affected. So I just think do you have the results of the residents in town?
Eve, can I just touch on that? I'm sorry. So I went down, as you know, and I hand delivered the survey to local businesses, and it was also anonymous. All we did was put numbers on them so we knew how many we got back. So as you saw, 75% of the businesses downtown, and even some that didn't turn it back in said, hey, you know, it might be a little inconvenience here and there, but we want to keep it downtown. And I think where the split is, and this is just my thought from talking to people, is the retail businesses like it, right? It gives them foot traffic, it gets people into their businesses. The services, like yourself and we'll say beauty salons, they don't like it because it hinders parking. You can't really get around. You can't get somebody to their business. So that's from the downtown businesses that we got back. Out of
But
all
is
of
that all businesses in the closed zone or just all businesses
No, so
in town?
no. So I only did who was affected by the street closure. So I went from Center Street to High Street on Main, and then First and Second from Union to Oak, and I hand dropped off the surveys to them.
So if I hadn't have caught you outside, you was going right on by my place.
No,
Rodney didn't get one.
I put Rodney
A
was
lot of
never
people
open,
didn't
and
get
I
that.
guarantee that I stuck one
Well-
in Rodney's door. I guarantee.
What did the residents that live uptown say about it? Do you have that breakdown?
No, we did not have this survey say per se that I handed out to the residents upstairs. It was for the businesses downtown, but the people upstairs had all the opportunity to do the online
And they did.
survey.
Right. I just think it was very skewed.
Oh, somebody over here was trying to stop me.
Eve, right in front of you.
Here.
Whether anybody wants to hear it or not, I personally like the downtown events. I am a business owner, so thank you for that. As far as the parade, I've been in the parades. They're on the right side of the Park Avenue Madison Health Building, which is not in front of the ER, which is not in front of the ambulatory entrance. And they are there maybe an hour to an hour and a half total. Like, they're in and out. So it's very well ran. I've been part of it when I used to work for Madison Health. My question is, the new businesses that are coming in on Main Street, is there going to be a time where maybe we sit back and we say, hey, we need to think about the other people, the people that moved across the street, the people that are a block down? When are they going to have the ability to be part of everything that's changing? Because I used to be on High Street, and I wasn't a part of this. Now I'm on Main Street, and I am, so it makes me think of everybody else.
And I'd say that's a great problem to have, right? You know, I mean, I've been downtown, my business has been down there, I've been there almost 22 years. I know, Ron Eddie's, you've been down there a real long time. There's a lot of us that have been down there. Angie's been down there for a very long time, and you know, it was a ghost town for a while. So it's fantastic that these things are happening. We printed off I think I dropped off about 50, right around 50. So that means that there's 50 active businesses downtown
That's awesome.
in the area that I just talked about that I dropped these off to. No, the street closure, quote unquote, begins at Center Street because it says no through traffic. Because I put that sign up there. I could show you my numbers on these weekends. Even during Rhythm and Rib Fest, I can show you that my business is cut in half.
And there is a reason that it's shut at Center Street. They have to shut it at Center Street because if we shut it on the other side of the railroad tracks and a semi truck comes down through there,
Councilman
there's
Norman is
nowhere
saying.
for that semi truck to go.
That's what he's saying.
You have to block it at Center Street.
Yeah, well, that's also because of the train tracks. You wouldn't put a festival where people would have to walk over active train tracks to get to another food booth or whatever. And I go down there and I put that sign up there, and I've put that sign up there before I was mayor and before I was on council because we wanted to let people know that, hey, you can still get, because it blocks off at the train tracks, but like he said, you have to block it off at Center because I could tell you, for example, last year during Strawberry Festival, Amazon went right past it and they came down and they ripped my awning off because they tried to turn around in my drive-through. Oh yeah, yeah. So, and then if it wasn't for JoJo, stopping them. They took off, ran over all kinds of things, and the police didn't catch them until Madison Health. But that's another story for another day.
All right, we have another question.
Hi, my name's Vince. I didn't catch your name. What was your name, please?
Holly Stockham,
And what do you represent?
London Strawberry.
Oh, okay. I heard your concern, and maybe one of the solutions could be to have people that have golf carts come and pick up whoever at the park and drive them downtown. I see there's a ton of people driving around with golf carts, and I'm sure they would be more than willing to help. That would be a good solution to that problem.
Again, we're talking about 150 kids.
Thank you for that suggestion. That was very kind.
I'm not sure how many of those parents and staff on the Academy are going to want to turn their kids over to someone they do not know.
Understood. All right, another audience question?
Hi, this isn't a question, it's just a statement. So based off of sales and festivals that I've particularly been through, and I'm a business downtown owner, our sales increase significantly when there is a festival downtown. So it is beneficial to us. There is some way to adjust a schedule or shift times to get girls back to a stage in downtown London. There's a ways to accommodate them to navigate through this. I don't think that it's beneficial to teeter away from downtown, because we are in such a crucial point of growth right now that any festival is free marketing. It is a free exposure. It is people coming downtown and saying, oh, wow, this is here now. We need to keep that momentum going, or that will not continue in downtown London. And I can speak from experience. I have numbers to prove those facts. My sales have grown exponentially. From Old Fashioned, my sales increased 40% in one day. That's crucial. You don't, numbers just don't lie. And when we are in such a stage of growth, it is important to take any opportunity to say, hey, this is what's happening in our downtown. Because any community that is growing, you should know that the downtown is the heart of that growth. And if we take that away, if we make people feel like they're not welcome, then it crumbles. We need to maintain that. And these things like Jazz and Rib, Strawberry, Old Fashioned, that's what we're known for. We cannot take that away. It's called find a solution, take a step back, reevaluate, reschedule your girls. There's a solution, there's problem solving, we just need to find it. It's not you against you, it's how do we work together? How do we get these girls back to the stage before 12 p.m.? That's it, it's very simple. That's a 2-minute, I mean, what is that? How many miles is that?
Oh God, I'm bad at math.
I think it's, so I walk from my house, which is off of Lincoln Avenue, to the park, briefly in 10 minutes with my 2 children. There has to be a solution to get these girls back to the stage, which I know is at 2nd and Main every single year. It never changes. I think that we just need to come to a conversation and say, hey, this is how we do this. This is how we navigate through it. We don't need to say, hey, somebody's not welcome. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying what's safety, what's going to get everybody home to their families, and what's going to make London, Ohio successful. That's it, period. And I'm just speaking from experience. I've experienced a couple things. The chocolate walk being, for example, you know, that's a crucial thing that happens in London, Ohio. You know, lots of things. It cannot be taken away from the downtown area right now. We can't afford that. And I've just seen it time and time again, and I feel like somebody who owns a business downtown, we need to say that. We need to execute that. We need to let that be known. For example, the marathon, that weekend, it brings in over 1,000 people. You cannot remove things like that. You just can't remove things. And Strawberry Fest is one of them. I know that people are very emotional about it. They put a lot of time into it. It's not about that. It's about just safety issues moving forward. And I think everybody downtown is for all of it. It's just we're doing it the right way. We need to do it the right way, establish the right way, and that's simply it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Audience feedback. Oh, but people online
Sit
can't
down.
hear you.
Yeah,
It's for the people online.
I got a big mouth.
They don't, it doesn't pick you up.
I'm not holding it. Hi, we own the London Farm Fresh Market, so we're right by the mayor's Casey's place there. Back to you on that, Pat. You say that you close off on Main and Center, but then you shut off on the side of the tracks by us. Why? The festival comes no place near us, but you're blocking off 2 sections that are allowing no parking to come to our stores.
So
during
I
that
think
time.
that might be a question for the gentleman behind you, because that's the Strawberry Festival. The Rhythm and Rib Fest the road stays completely open to First Street, so I don't know if Kevin wants to field that, or.
There's never, not even on Shop Hop, there's never a food truck down by us or anything. Yeah, but I'm just saying that if you guys are blocking off Main Center.
Last year, we were supposed to have rides down there, and they couldn't get the rides quick enough. They had 6 hours. We couldn't get the rides up on
So
Thursday.
you got traffic opening those barricades, semi
Well, I'm
come
not allowed to
through the
open more
festival
closed.
last year.
I didn't know.
No, they're just getting out doing it themselves.
I know, that's-
Because they don't understand why
And
they're
that
closed
stage
off
down
on
here.
Main and
Cross
Center,
Street.
and then come down to us.
Those guys should be.
Right.
So they can pass that barrier on Main and Center to go to Casey's, but they can't come over the railroad tracks to come to my store?
I'm not the one that put them there, so.
Somebody else over here.
I had just had a couple of things, concerns, not necessarily concerns, but just conversation pieces, I guess. When you say there's no vehicles allowed in the festival area, I mean, no vehicles is no vehicles, right? So I just think, and I haven't had one of my trucks in well, I guess last year the Rib Fest, but maybe for the bigger volume trucks, when you say no vehicles, what about supply trucks? Like maybe if they come in at, I don't know, 6 a.m. if somebody ran out of food the night before, because no vehicles would be, that can't come either, so.
Yeah, I can talk about that. The main thing we're talking about is having, like you talked about, we can definitely address that, because I know there are food trucks that come in, they don't move all weekend, they're parked somewhere, they're parked in, they get, maybe Rodney or somebody to say, hey, can I park here? Yeah. The main thing we're talking about is when, say, the festival starts at 10 a.m., right? At 10:30, we don't want somebody driving a car in and setting up their booth. We're going to have cutoffs. You have to be in and set up, and also when it starts getting later on the last night, all of a sudden there's people listening to bands or walking around, and then here comes a couple cars because they want to start tearing down early to get out of there. That's the main thing that we're talking about. Parked vehicles, that's a whole different factor, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there.
Yeah.
before we talk about
No,
that.
it's a good question.
And then, I know, like last year when I had my truck at the end of the Strawberry, or the Rib Fest there at First and Main. Not that there was ever really a threat of a car coming in, when we were in the end. So if a car comes in, they're hitting us first, right,
Yeah.
at that time. So I think the barricades probably need to be improved. I mean, nobody's going to stop by, a traffic cone's not going to stop anybody, right?
You're absolutely
so bigger
right.
barricades, I think, would be helpful on the ends, at
Yep.
least, right?
So we were talking to Chief Eads, who was the fire and EMS chief. He was speaking about, I can't remember, do you remember it was ODOT or someone, I can't remember who the entity was, has certain barricades that they lend to cities and festivals to put at these main intersections to make sure nobody's pulling through. And then we've also talked about purchasing more of the water barricades. So the water barricades are what we use for the Cobra Show, if you've ever been down there. So it used to be big cement barricades, right? Well, now they do them where you just fill them up with water. And so we're talking about the purchasing maybe of more of those, or talking to this entity to bring in those real nice barriers that, because you're absolutely right. All it is the A-frame trifolds, and that is a big concern. That's one of the biggest concerns that Chief Nickel brought up, because you see all these yahoos out there and all of a sudden in parades and festivals, and they just want to do something stupid, and they drive down the middle of a festival and really hurt people. And so that's one of the things we're looking at too. So another great question. Yeah.
And then just one concern, and maybe I missed it in the presentation, but I don't think I did, but maybe I did. I noticed you had a time for trucks and stuff to be out at the end of the thing. What about setup times? I know in the past, probably my biggest frustration with these events downtown is, maybe that says, we'll get a letter usually from the city or whatever, and it says setup time is 4 p.m., that's when the road closures begins, whatever. But these trucks are in there by 12. So really 4 o'clock is not 4 o'clock, it's now 12 o'clock, or maybe even earlier sometimes because they park on the side streets. So maybe that needs addressed. I don't know if it was or not.
Yeah.
I think maybe even because that'll be the night before, right? So I would like to see that even later, as late as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these trucks are coming in from out of town. I set my truck up. I can have it set up in 10 minutes. I know not all trucks are that easy, but I think it needs to be a little bit late into the evening, not midnight, but 8, 9 o'clock maybe. Because they got to have a little bit of skin in the game too. The trucks that are coming in from out of town, because they'll be gone tomorrow or in a couple of days, right? So I think you need to make them work a little bit too, and
yeah,
rather because it is a road closure, so it's one way or another, and that's dead time. Nobody's there except for so I just feel like that should be a little bit later in the evening as well.
Yeah. So that's definitely Eve, if you'll make a mental note of that, of when we're going to bring them in the night before or whatever. The other thing we're talking about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock that everybody has to be off the road. That's coming from the street department because they'll get down there to clean and there's always somebody dragging their feet or doing whatever, and they cannot sweep the road until 3 or 4 in the morning, right? So that's why we really emphasize the closing. But you're absolutely right, figuring out the night before, every festival will shut at X time, and everybody has to be set up that night.
Quick question on that, Mayor.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, what's been the shutdown time for these festivals now, including?
It's
Was it 11
usually
o'clock?
9, 10 o'clock, maybe 11, but by the time people get off the road, because one thing we don't want to do is street sweep and there be a few trailers or whatever left, right? So then we'd have to go back through, and it'll be 2, 3 in the morning before they can run the street sweeper because they're just not getting off the road. So we got to do a hard shut-off time, and the festivals are going to have to work around that to stop the festival earlier or stop the bands earlier or whatever.
But was that printed in the regulations? There's going to be a hard cutoff time of 10 p.m.?
It was 11 is the working document number that we came up with.
So if the cutoff time's 11, they can't set up or break down immediately.
The event regulations actually state that everything you bring in for the event must be removed by 11 p.m.
Okay,
That is your stop
but
time.
if the event happens till 11 p.m.
Happen till 11.
Yeah, and that's what we're working on.
That's my point. If you're going to have an event that runs to 11, you can't expect people to snap their fingers or wiggle their nose and everything disappears.
Exactly.
There has to be a time.
Exactly.
And
Just have to figure out what works best for their event with the understanding that by 11, everything needs to be off of the street so that the city, the city street department can come in and start doing their job.
Okay, thank you.
And I think what also this came out of too was there was 2 businesses downtown where one of the vendors had a nice tent full of stuff, and I think he was there till 2 in the morning reloading, and you had our guys standing there just basically waiting on one vendor because the first time.
That will change this year.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know who it was. I'm just going by what the business said. And then you've got our guys paying, we're paying our guys just to stand there and wait, so then we're getting calls, well, why is this guy standing there, doing nothing? And it's just so I think that's why we made that time.
Yeah, well, actually, the festival will pay for the street sweeper. So we're not paying them. But the thing is that, you know, if somebody tells you, hey, I need you to come do a job at midnight, and it's in the middle of the night on a Saturday night on your day off, and you go, okay, I'll go do it, and then you have to wait till 3 a.m. to do something, it's just frustration in the department itself. And, you know, we need to work with those guys too, because we need them to come do the street sweeper. And if they, you know, say, I don't want the overtime, I don't want to deal with this again, but if we can give them some reassurance, it helps.
Sounds like y'all were proactive about that particular instance also. Audience question?
Yeah, I just have one question. I know we're talking about the shutting down temporarily for the Cobras, which obviously is very important. I'm glad we're doing that. What about the car show that we have for the Ribbon Jazz and for the Strawberry Festival? It usually goes on 2nd Street over and on Union Street as well. Are we able to shut that down on Union Street for a few hours for a car show for both events?
Yeah, so that's more of a temporary closure like we talked about, and we'll definitely work with that. You know, Rhythm and Rib Fest hasn't gone on to Union in a couple years. I don't know how big your guys' show are, but you guys only use East 2nd, right? So, but, yeah, Union, yeah. To Main Street, right, yeah. So that's a temporary closure for a small period of time, and we can work on that too. Like, here's the deal. Like, we want to work with everybody. We want to, but like I said, the main thing is we want to keep it safe. We want the citizens to be happy. We want the businesses to be happy. And that's why we're going through this process. So, but we're willing to work with you guys, and we're, like we said, this is a living document, and let's just keep working on it. And I'm always willing to sit down. It just takes a phone call or email, and I'll sit down with you, and you can give some thoughts. And I know Mr. Norman has been very tentative to this and willing to sit down and come in and talk. We've had multiple conversations on this, so anytime somebody from a festival or downtown wants to come in and talk, just get a hold of me, please.
Audience concern?
More of a question than a concern. I haven't heard anything spoken to yet, and I thought I saw something in your presentation that had to do with a form, a profile for the vendors. Now, is this going to become a centralized program for vendors for downtown festivals, which I think would be a great idea, to have some oversight on less than desirable vendors, if those have occurred, or how to make sure, since you've only got a number of spots, that spots that are reserved aren't given away to other people? How is that going to actually work to be a little more professional and efficient with our vendor program?
So this is what what's up on the screen is what the festival fills out. So as for, you know, what vendors come in and who they choose, that is really up to the festival itself. But we do also require, it's part of the packet, we also require simple background checks, and they have been effective. We have done some background checks and had to go down and handcuff some people and send them some places. And it's happened in the past, so that is working, but everyone that comes in has to do a background check where they give their name and I believe address, or maybe a name and driver's license number, and then we run those through the police department and then to be approved.
Then I think, thank you for that answer. I think my question is more on the efficiency and how the vendor program is run in any given festival, so that spots aren't given away to people who have reserved spots, that they're given away even when they're there on time. And I know Councilman Stahl and Councilman Norman are aware of situations that have occurred in prior festivals. So I think, is there some way that we're going to have a protocol to make London look professional for our vendors?
I think that's up to the festival organizers themselves. I don't know what specifics you're talking about, but I think that'll be left up to the organizers themselves and the vendors working with said organizers. I don't think that, you know, we don't want to do city overreach to say, hey, you can't bring in, this person or that person, or you need to put this person there, or whatever. It's their festival, and I can tell you that all the festivals would take any help that they can get with volunteers and organization and helping out. So, anybody who would like to volunteer for one of the festivals, I know Strawberry Festival would use extra hands, right? And so would the Rib Fest. So, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So besides the parades going through downtown for about the last 100 years, it seems like that is a short distance for the amount of people that you would have lined up. Would you expect them to be lined up for the parade going down 4th Street also?
That's actually probably about a mile.
Yeah, that's a long.
'Cause
it's
it's half a mile from Park and Main down to the courthouse.
And I understand that because, last year going through it, but even going all the way down past the police station there, it was still packed the entire way down. And so it is going to be, I think, quite filled up with that amount of short space, but also if we do have people on those sidewalks going that way, I know that's where a lot of these new handicap accessible ramps will be going, but those sidewalks would probably need looked into also.
I'm sorry, this gentleman had his hand up for a minute. You had your hand raised?
Just a quick question. Does the festivals have funds? For example, the last 2 years, we've had to replace 3 windows during the Strawberry Festival at Walls and Bennett. So just curious.
I do not know the financials of the Strawberry Fest. I can tell you that the Rhythm and Rib Fest, there's no. So I'll let them speak on that. But for the Rhythm and Rib Fest, we don't take any manager fees or anything. We don't take any money out of it. And we have enough money if there was a catastrophic failure that we could run the event for a whole nother year. We keep a full year's budget. But as for Strawberry, I would let them answer that, I guess, about their financials if they want. And you should have, every festival should have insurance too, right?
Yeah, you make us carry it. Yeah, we have $5 million liability insurance policy. I don't know if nobody's mentioned to me about any broken windows. So, and I was around Rod, on Sunday morning checking trash and stuff, and I didn't see any broken windows, but wasn't specifically looking for them. We picked a lot of extra stuff up, but other than that, yes, we do carry money over year to year. So we don't have quite a full year budget because our budget's a little bigger, but we can operate. We have with bad weather. So
I guess just kind of to Tommy's point about the parade route. I don't have an opinion where the parade route goes necessarily, but maybe his comments made me think. So now you have the parade route on one, or the festival on one side of High Street for the parade. Now you're taking, whoever's going to that parade that's at the festival, you're taking them to the other side of High Street. So I don't know. And I could see that maybe being a concern if you have all these people traveling across High for the parade and then back again. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the migration of people crossing is a lot more manageable than a continuous flow coming down through an area. So if we can have 2 officers, and you've got a stage, right? So you say, hey, the parade's about to begin. Let's move this way. We have the police there blocking it off or directing the traffic. So if there's a crowd of people, you let that crowd go by. And when the parade's over, you bring them back into the festival. It's manageable.
Yeah, and
it's
just
not ideal. I understand. I know. I see you looking.
Yeah,
but
just to touch on that, the Cobra show. I mean, High Street's still open, so you have that huge migration of people going back and forth to go see all the Cobras and then going back in the festival and vice versa. And it's able to be managed, especially because of that being blocked off, so you don't have to worry about that traffic coming that way. It's pretty much just High Street, and when the light turns red, you can just kind of pop on across. So, because the Cobra Show is well attended, and everybody who usually goes down to the Cobra Show pops over and, you know, gets them something to eat at some point and checks the festival out. So.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for everybody.
Yeah, just to end, I do want to thank everyone who came out tonight and talked and gave ideas. And if you have ideas or thoughts, you know, just get a hold of us, email us. I also want to thank the citizens for 500 entries. I mean, that is amazing that people are saying, getting their voice heard, and you know, sometimes you put these things out and nobody cares or wants to respond or whatever. So now that we're getting, you know, all these things downtown, you know, people are very invested in what's going on downtown. And I also want to thank Eve, because Eve pretty much put this whole presentation together. She got all the data. I wouldn't know how to put out a survey like that or get the data or any of that. So I want to thank her for all her hard work and doing a wonderful presentation tonight too. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Now, we're going to go to audience concerns. First up, we have Vincent Morse. If you could please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hold on.
If you could just state your name and address for the record,
I will
please.
do.
All right, perfect.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Vincent Morse. I live at 134 North Main in the 4th Ward. The topic of my discussion is pedestrian safety, covering roads, sidewalks, and North Main Street, with a focus on the intersection of Main Street and Park Avenue. I am submitting to council a program sponsored and regulated by the National Safety Council. The program is called Walk Friendly Communities, a national recognition program. This program recognizes and awards cities the Walk Friendly designation. Cities are awarded according to their adherence to standards and goals set forth by the National Safety Council. This information can be located online through the National Safety Council or by visiting info@walkfriendly.org. Here you will find qualifications and guidelines to follow and a list of cities that have achieved the designation. You can click on each city for a detailed analysis of their individual efforts and progress cited. On to the roads. I'm sure we have all noticed the square rectangular holes cut in roadways by Omni-Fiber. Many are not filled in and are a hazard. A week ago, last Friday morning, knowing that these holes are not the city's creation, I called the street department's pothole hotline and left a message concerning a cut in the road on High Street in front of KFC. The hole was in the middle of the right eastbound lane, measuring approximately 18 by 18 inches and 4 to 5 inches deep. That same day, shortly after noon, Bill Long responded to my call and informed me that he filled in the hole. Thank you, Bill Long, for your quick response to this matter. And while I'm here, a big thank you and much recognition to Bill Long for 40-plus years serving the city. I researched and found that Omni-Fiber operates here similar to a utility company, burying their cables alongside existing cables. What are the conditions of Omni-Fiber's presence here, specifically concerning cutting holes in roadways and returning the surface to its original condition? Do they pay a permit fee to cut these holes as residents are required to do for sidewalk work? Are there consequences or fines for not following certain protocols or procedures? At this point in time, unless Omni-Fiber is operating here with independent autonomy, immunity, or impunity, I propose to immediately not allow them to excavate another thimble of roadway or do any kind of operation until they properly restore all previous cut holes to their original condition. Please visit and measure a 6-month-old cut hole at the corner of High and North Union Street in front of McDonald's, 3 to 4 feet from the corner curb in the roadway. Now sidewalks, acknowledging the accessibility inclusive measures concerning access ramps to sidewalks. Congratulations, Mayor, Council, Committees for this accomplishment. Also, Susan Thompson and Eve Breedlove for efforts to secure the grant. And also thanks to City Advocate Tom Boyd, who I understand noticed the need, presented his concern to council and/or committees, and they in turn acted accordingly. The sidewalks are in desperate need of repairs throughout the city to properly complement the new access ramps. For years, there has been well-established code and ordinance concerning sidewalk upkeep and repairs. This legislation should be enforced promptly. On to Main Street, I will be sharing my witnessing a potentially tragic accident at the intersection of North Main and Park Avenue that convinces me that the speed should be reduced to 25 miles an hour from north of the hospital through town, both directions. Lines should be established on Main to indicate lane usage, no passing signs, and a traffic study at this intersection to correct unclear or non-existent traffic and pedestrian indicators and directives. This is my eyewitness at this intersection next to the park. I was driving south on Main Street, passing the hospital, approaching Park Avenue. I was behind 3 vehicles. The 2 front vehicles had their left turn signal on and stopped on Main to turn left on Park Avenue. I glanced left and noticed a pedestrian crossing Park Avenue. This is why the vehicles were stopped. However, the 2 vehicles could also be waiting on oncoming traffic, but it was unclear as these 2 vehicles turning left were big and created a blind spot for the oncoming traffic. The road becomes exponentially wider at this point, creating the impression of 2 traveling lanes plus a parking lane. The 3rd vehicle decided to pass these 2 stopped vehicles, and right when it was passing them, a baby stroller and a lady pushing it appeared out of the blind spot, crossing Main from left to right. The passing vehicle slammed on its brakes, coming to a stop several feet from the baby stroller. That's my eyewitness and my warning of a worst-case scenario at this potentially dangerous intersection next to the park, and thank you for any consideration to any of these matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vincent.
Mr. Morris, thank you very much for the eyewitness account. I appreciate that. I agree. I think that, especially when summer happens, the amount of people that want to cross Main Street, you know, where are you going to cross, right? If you're on that block right across from the park, where are you going to cross that? You're either going to cross there and play Frogger, or you're going to have to go down maybe all the way down to 4th or 5th just to be able to cross maybe more safely. It's a very dangerous place, and hopefully our committee, which handles the streets, is going to look at this a little further. But I do appreciate your
Thank
comment
you.
tonight.
I know I spoke fast to get everything out, but I think I got everything out that I wanted.
You timed it, 5 minutes, you did
Okay.
it, so thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
If anybody else has questions, they should get hold of you,
Sure enough.
okay?
All righty.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
All right, David Mars, come up to the podium. State your name and address, please.
David Mars, 155 North Oak Street. And I appreciate Mr. Morris's comments. You know, and this is apart from what I had to say. There are many repairs throughout the city, not only Omnifiber, but other repairs that have been done by various utilities that are very much subpar and not professional. I mean, paving that's just left in gravel, it's really disgraceful. And I know that there are efforts to improve the road infrastructure, but definitely echo those comments there. But I actually came to speak on the marathon, which is on 4/20/24. It's a palindrome. And I know I've said it before, but I just, for the sake of everybody knowing the story of the marathon, it was actually started as a joke. When I moved to London, I thought it'd be hilarious to have a marathon here so that people could go home and say that they had run the London Marathon, which the London, England Marathon is a huge deal. I mentioned that joke to an old friend of mine, Amy Rees, and this was 4 years ago, and she said, well, there's this group that's starting to raise funds for the Merrimack Park to put infrastructure there. And I said, well, that's great. Let's combine these two efforts. I don't care where the money goes. So we started the marathon for that purpose. To date, this will be our 4th marathon. So far, registration is at 260 people. I expect it to hit 500 people this year. We have people coming from 24 states and also Quebec, Netherlands, and Italy.
They all know they're in London, Ohio.
I have no idea how this happens. I'm not telling them that. When I mark it as London, and then we put a little O each behind it, they tell me that's legal. But it's just exciting to be able to do this, to be able to bring a marathon to our town. It's very difficult to run a marathon. It's 26.2 miles. Generally, that's not possible for a city of our size and with the resources that we have. We are very fortunate to have the trail, and we use that to be able to make this work. It's almost perfect because we jump on the trail, and every 2 miles you have a road crossing. So we can put our aid stations at those crossings, and it's incredibly manageable, and it makes this course possible. So it's a real asset to our community to have that trail. And I'm not sure exact dollar amount overall over those 4 years. I believe it's in the neighborhood of, this is a large span, but it's around 50,000 that we've been able to raise. This year, I believe so far registration has about 18,000 that's sitting in the account. So we're excited to be able to bring those funds from outside of London largely and donate those to Merrimack Park. And I hope that everybody here has had the opportunity to visit the park and see the playground that we've been able to donate towards. And so just very much appreciate everyone's kind words and support of the marathon. We still would love to have more volunteers show up. So any volunteers, please contact me or anybody in the Merrimack Park Miracle. And thank you.
Mr. Mars? Yes, sir. I'm going to make a comment. I was at a meeting that you spoke at. You said that they had raised 50, 60, somewhere in that $1,000 in that time, and that all went back to Merrimack Park. And with the people we had here tonight and some that are still here, I don't know if they donate anything anywhere in the city. I don't know. But I know that your group does, and I truly appreciate that you guys support Merrimack Miracle, and that money's went to make that park better. And I do appreciate that. I know there's lots of service organizations and they do donate money, but when something like this happens and we know that there's money raised, it's always nice to know that it's going somewhere.
It means the world to me to see Merrimack Park. And I love taking my kids there and to see other people playing there. It's just incredible to do that. So, it's humbling to do that.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anita Likens, state your name and address, please.
Anita Likens at 157 East First Street. I had a reading for you tonight, but due to the lateness of the hour, I'm not going to subject you to that this evening. I'm sure you're all sitting up there going, thank you, Anita. Go ahead.
Thank you, Anita.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Anita.
But it's a good one, so you just wait with bated breath until I get ready to do it. But I do want to say to our prior two speakers, both Vincent and David, kudos to both of them. I've known Vincent for many years, and I appreciate everything he's saying and the well enunciated and clearly stated points that he made, which are very much worthy of council's attention and city administration's. The other thing I want to say is I, too, sat in on a speaking engagement that Mr. David Mars put out. Totally, 100% into this. I think it's wonderful. We are trying to raise volunteers through the local London Lions Club to help support some of the aid stations, and I just challenge any of the other groups that are where within town, be they Madison Health, be they whatever organization within town, to see what they can do to raise some volunteers to help this worthy cause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Raymond Anthony. State your name and address for the record, please.
Raymond Anthony, 521 Eaton. In December of 2022, the Board of Public Utilities, along with their engineering firm, came to the City Council. At that time, the engineering firm told City Council what needed to be done to get the East High Water Tower fixed, up and running, and that they said it would take about a year. And so in December of 2023, the Board of Public Utilities came back again to the City Council along with a gentleman from Mid-Ohio Water and Waste. And they gave their opinion of what needed to be done to get the East High Water Tower up and running. So my question is, and now since that tower is basically under the umbrella of Mid-Ohio Water and Waste, has there been a time frame of when this would be functional?
What? Yeah. Sure, I just know we're waiting on the, last I know we was waiting on the EPA, but you guys can elaborate on that.
Yeah, we just had a meeting yesterday with the EPA to go out and look at the new well that they are digging. And just to get a well permitted and in process, they're talking about 3 months to get that done. You cannot understand the frustration that the Board of Public Utilities has gone through, that the mayor and I have gone through, dealing with the EPA. Mid-Ohio has come through and has worked with the engineering firm and has the plant to where it's fully capable of producing water. And by the way, the water tower has been working for years. It's the water plant that's not working.
Well, okay,
Right, okay. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. And for them to get all the work that they have done, put into getting the plant to in shape to where we can produce good water for the citizens of London. And the final step is to have the EPA put their little stamp on it, says, okay, you can start producing it and using it, and them to come back and say, it's going to be at least 6 months. The look on the faces, I can't describe it. It's utter disappointment and frustration. And I don't want to give any excuses to the EPA, but it's my understanding that their engineering wing that does this approval is down to one person for the whole state of Ohio. So that adds more to the time frame. It's just seemingly one roadblock after another with red tape, totally red tape.
Do you foresee them not ever approving it?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Every question that they asked at the meeting we had 3 months ago when they told us it was going to be 6 months, every question as far as quality testing and so forth, Mid-Ohio and the city has had that test done and conducted, and it's come back clean and everything. It's just waiting on them to go through the schematics of the whole design of what they plan on doing to produce the water and approving the process.
Okay.
And we ask at that meeting, and of course you're going to get this answer, you know, it's been 3 months, is it going to be another 3 months? And the guy goes, oh, that's not my department. So those are the kind of answers you get.
Okay.
So,
well, thank you for it.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I?
Just an FYI, if your cell phone is too close to your microphone, that's where that's where that ticking's coming from. Just heads up. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Rich was the culprit.
Can I, Mr. President, can I ask Rex a question about this topic?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make sure. So are we under any kind of EPA order right now?
EPA order?
Yeah, in the session we had over the weekend, they were talking about it came up that some of the cities that have changed their water and moved their water and all of that there's an EPA order. And it stalls everything. And I just wondered is that something that we're under?
I'm not aware of any kind of order, no.
Okay.
We're just waiting, we're waiting on their approval on the plant production process plan that was presented to them.
Okay, I was going to ask, and I'm glad he came because he reminded me to ask about that, because I just kind of wondered why it was taking so long too, but you explained it. It's government.
All right. Next up, Tommy Boyd. You can state your name and address, please.
Rich, I don't think it was you. I can hear it.
Good evening. Tommy Boyd, 48 North Union Street, London, Ohio. Got 3 things for you tonight, but hopefully it still goes pretty quick since, yes, it's been a long night. First one has to do with the crosswalk signs and awareness. 9/21/23 brought this up specifically that, you know, our increased crosswalks downtown should be given more awareness. You know, whether it's by state law, yield to pedestrians. And we really haven't improved anything else. I don't really remember last time a child got hit within one of our crosswalks, but, you know, even as I stated then, might have some 16 or 17-year-old trying to get across the street, and now we've kind of had one hit over by the school. So just kind of knowing that, you know, what we are leading, if we're doing the correct safety precautions, that would lead our citizens to do the correct safety precautions. And so just kind of a thought on continuing to try to get those up. Last finance meeting, we approved $400,000 or $500,000 for the street department. Is that for the Lincoln sewer water or stormwater system that's going to go down there?
Are you talking about the 916,000 that was approved?
We approved that, but there was $400,000 or $500,000, sorry, that was going to be reimbursed from Madison County that we said would be coming back. Is that the CDBG grant?
No, so that was to tear the building down next door. So it was a reimbursed grant. The money went through the county got the check, deposited it, and then we had to get the money back from them.
Okay, so that's still coming from just that next door.
Has that
We
happened?
got it.
Okay, we have it
We
now.
got it, finally.
Is there any updates on the storm sewer project on Lincoln then? Because that's one that we've been talking about.
The engineers have issued some questions about, I think, some right-of-ways and some locations of some water lines and sewer lines as they're developing. The engineers have to develop the whole thing, and then it'll go out to bid for the construction companies. They just sent those out this week. I think Bill's in the process of answering those questions. So as soon as they get all the engineering pieces finished, it'll be going out to bid.
Will that be one that we are paying up front, or is Madison County actually paying for that also?
That one is, the bulk of that is through OPWC loan that we got. We got a $700,000 grant, and then the rest of it was a $1.2 million interest-free loan. I'm thinking OPWC will allow us to submit the invoices to them, and they pay it directly out, I think. Don't hold me to that.
Sounds good, because, yeah, that was the main part we were kind of chatting about before on saying, hey, who's paying for this stuff? And with Madison County
The city has some skin in the game. We have to pay a certain amount, and then we also have the $700,000 grant and a $1.2 million loan.
All right. I'll just ask you real quick, because I noticed we brought that up at another meeting of, it had been approved to allow for the new playground equipment to be put out at Merrimack. Did you have a specific individual that might have approved that for us from the CDBG grant there that we had, instead of making a whole new pop-up park that was kind of put into the plans of adding the new equipment out at Merrimack instead? Was there a different individual that did approve that?
No, that was, initially it was supposed to put along the, off of Toland Street, I think around Burr-Wheeler Park area. Some concerns came up with flooding issues and children playing near the creek. Felt like it would be unsafe. So it was requested to have that moved by citizens of London. And it was brought to the Grant Whitaker Wright, who does our CBDG administration, and he was able to get that to where we could put it in the Merrimack Park area.
All right, because, yeah, I know that they said pretty specifically that, you know, if you're adding anything to previously made parks already, it should be handicap accessible at least. And so that's kind of something that I was just seeing on that one, and we'll check out later on. My bigger piece is that last week, or our last city council meeting, it was brought up about a comprehensive plan. And so being told that this is too expensive for us right now, I was going to ask which part is too expensive to get started on for our comprehensive plan?
I didn't say that it was too expensive. I said it was an expensive plan, and that city council would have to appropriate that money so we could get the plan done. I didn't say it was too expensive. I said they are expensive.
Can I ask, though, what your first step of the plan is? That's what I'm trying to ask is,
Yeah,
you know,
so to get money from council so we can put it out to bid to,
First of all, you have to put out a RFQ, request for qualifications, to see what engineers are qualified to do such projects for you. That has to have permission to council to put that out. We've got it on the agenda to bring it to finance next week for permission to bring it to council, to get permission to put it out for an RFQ qualification
All right.
process.
And so here's my bigger piece that is kind of the point of this is the first step of this is a strategic comprehensive committee. Having a group of individuals that's looking through how old are our sewer systems? How old are our streets? How old are our sidewalks? There is no one plan that you just pay for this. This is a comprehensive plan of our entire city. And so tonight I kind of brought in something that is what's underneath our feet. This is our storm sewer system. And now I'm finding pieces of this in the Omni fiber holes and the fill dirt that they're putting back in with chunks of our infrastructure in them. And so this is something that I don't think that we have the ability to say, hey, this is too expensive or whatever else. We need to get started on it. They stopped installing this in 1981. So minimum, we have 40 years worth of storm sewer pipes just running under our feet that we know they're deteriorating. We know they're falling apart. But, you know, we have to have some sort of group, because once you have that strategic comprehensive committee, then you can make a progressive comprehensive plan. And that progressive plan is showing, hey, what is going to be done? What time periods is it going to be done? It's going to be able to show us, hey, when were these streets graded last? Instead of just, hey, can we get these filled in? And so it's a much larger picture than, hey, we just pay for somebody to give us this plan. And that's the big part that, you know, I kind of wanted to stress here, because saying, hey, we'll look into this comp plan, it's not just a comp plan, that's what we give kids for lunches. You know, this is a comprehensive plan that shows everything going on within our city.
Our plan is to have an engineering firm spearhead this project to put together the right types of committees to do exactly what you're saying. The city went through, in 2013, went through over a year of committee reports and didn't get it finished because they didn't have the organization, I feel, at the beginning to get the plan done. We want to do it right. We just don't want to have meetings to have meetings. We want to have meetings to get something accomplished. We want a company that knows the process to lead us through this, okay?
Are you going to begin setting up a committee for this?
We're wanting the company to
set up a committee for you?
No. They want to set up the criteria of what we need to provide. We don't want to get something started and go, no, we don't want it structured that way. Don't want to get the cart before the horse. We want to do it right.
And that's, yes, I agree. And having that committee that's just looking over, hey, what do we want to get started with? You know, that's their main point. They're not
Well, what I
paying
want to
for
get started
anything.
with is I want to bring it to council to get an RFQ to get the process started. Thank you.
And so, last piece with that would be the sewer study that we said is coming in May. Is that for our storm sewer? Is that for the sewer that we just gave away? Which sewer study is that for? Because this is from BPU, everything else that we've given reviews saying, hey, yeah, we have a sewer survey coming in May, or coming this spring. And so,
Well, you're
what
talking
sewer
about the
is that for?
northeast storm, or northeast wastewater.
We made a pretty big point that it was going through our entire sewer systems. You know, this was a big piece we've been asking for, is that we want something that shows what's underneath our feet. And so now kind of looking back through it, though, it seems like, hey, we mostly said, oh, this is a sewer survey instead of a storm sewer survey. You know, trust me, I still really hope that I can help out with being one of the 2 Mid-Ohio seats. You know, being able to annex the prison in is something that Mid-Ohio is going to have to, hey, help out with. But, you know, with that bringing in $1.2 million a year still, that's a beneficial item. And so I'm not trying to put down any. It's, hey, just kind of seeing now, though, that we've held on to the storm sewer instead of giving away that responsibility also. It seems that we still have a large amount of responsibility of what needs fixed in the city.
So Mid-Ohio is Mid-Ohio Water and Sewer District. They're not going to take our storm sewer from us. It is wastewater and water. That's why we kept our storm sewer.
All right, thank you.
All right. Well,
Can I ask Rick the question?
Yeah.
It's based off what he asked you, and it made me think. Are we on course with all the different projects from that grant for the third ward? are we in any situation where we might lose some of that money because we're not going to get that project done? Because Whitaker, during that process, over and over again, he said, you got to have it done by August 2024. And you just said, we're still waiting on this and that and the other.
Well, okay, there's different projects going on. The CBDG grant that you're referencing,
Yeah.
That is administered through, as far as going out to bid and everything, that's administered through the county. It's my understanding that that bid process has been started. I think bid opening, I think is next week, from what I understand.
So
But that's all.
we're not in any danger of losing any of those funds.
They're doing things I think they're pretty much on schedule from what I understand.
Okay, I just went, because I hadn't really heard anything
Well,
either.
You know, like I said, it's Whitaker
a
Wright is the
process.
administrator of it. The county is the ones that is basically driving this. So it's him pushing the county to get things going, and they're moving, they're getting
Okay.
it done.
All right, I just wanted to check in.
That's
Thank
right.
you, I appreciate it.
Okay, on to committee reports. Greg?
Personnel and Finance Committee has not met since the last meeting. We will meet on Monday, March 11th, 5:30 PM in the conference room, and we will record that through a Zoom.
Brent?
We haven't had any meetings since the last public service.
Thank you. Rich?
Public Safety Committee meeting will be March the 12th, 6 PM in the conference room next door. I do have a few notes from BPU meeting back on February 22nd. There wasn't a whole lot discussed, but run over a couple things here. A bearing went out at the water plant. County water was used. 1,400 meters right now left to, at that time was left to be installed. The new wall is being built at the plant, the water plant. Under sanitation, the Unit 2 truck, the new head did not fix the engine problems, and they say we need new engine in that, but there's some other things that they're looking at, and I think they've talked to Bander and Haig, and they're working on something with them right now. Trash cans, 95-gallon order of trash cans have been delivered. Tires for Unit 19 and 20 have been installed. There was a load of recycled tires that were supposed to be picked up, and they have been picked up. Old recycled containers, there was a motion approved to sell those for $1 per container. Under wastewater, I have the screw press contract schedule has been revised. The screw press is coming from Europe. Due to equipment delays, the revised schedule is as follows. Begin construction in May, screw press delivery in June, project completion and startup August. It was previously set to start up in June. Digester repairs and upgrade. On January the 12th, 16th, and 30th, Dan Levitt was at the wastewater treatment plant to evaluate the condition of the sludge digestion system and help the plant staff to begin to make a number of repairs. Several valves that were not working properly were repaired, and repair parts for other equipment has been ordered. Dan also trained personnel from wastewater treatment plant and from Mid-Ohio on the proper operation and maintenance of the digester system. He also created a list of repairs that still need to be made when the parts are available. And that's a big situation. We have parts, they're hard to come by right now. On January 22nd, plant personnel cleaned all the sewers on Stump Lane and Dager Street to prevent future backups. following a call from a concerned citizen. On February the 15th, the thickened primary sludge pump failed, which prevents us from accepting grease from septic haulers and affects our revenues. Currently getting prices to repair or replace this pump. This pump is 20 years old. Personnel, position of lead operator remains vacant, has been since August. Since Mid-Ohio was taken over, they will be making the hire now. Septic revenue for January, 251,925 gallons of septic and grease was received from 20 waste haulers. Total revenue generated was $16,627.75. Total revenue from 2023, $400,099.39. That's an average monthly revenue of $33,341.62. And that's all I have.
I have a question.
I do too.
Thank you. Mr. Hayes, I heard the name Dan Levitt. Dan Levitt was the former superintendent down there, is that correct?
Yes.
And he was there to do training. Is he now a consultant, or is he now an employee, or what?
Pat, what's going on?
He just came in to consult with Mid-Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Hayes. As our BPU rep, I had an email from someone, and they didn't say I could use their name, so I'm not going to give their name. There's a couple questions they have. They said, when does the city, and I don't know if, I'm assuming it's the water leak, so I'm assuming it has to do with the BPU. When does the city plan to fix the water line that has been leaking down the street from First to South Main Street? Go ahead.
Yes. You don't have to say any names because I get this call every day. So that water leak, it is a water leak. It's not a sewer leak, so it is a water leak. Okay. And it's a valve. So
waiting on a part.
We were waiting on a part. So surprise, surprise, it took forever to get the part in. We just got the part in, and now we have to wait on the company to come in and fix it. So we think every other day I write an email to figure out when they're going to be in, and we're on them, and we're doing everything we can to get them in to fix that. But it is a pain, and it's been going on for a while, but the biggest holdup was getting the part.
Okay, and then the follow-up question from the same person is, who is going to pay the bill for all the lost water for the past 3 months? Is that just?
Oh, it's not running through a meter.
So
no, like it's not like, okay, all of a sudden that building on the corner is going to get a huge bill.
Okay.
No, the loss is on the city.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sure
Welcome.
they thank you too.
Hey, along that line, somewhere on West High Street, maybe it was in front of Taco Bell. Has that been reported? There's a leak right in front of that also. It was coming up out of the ground.
We have not heard that. Bill might have, Mid-Ohio might have, but
Okay.
we have not heard that. So if you want, will you shoot us and Bill an email, and we'll take a look at it tomorrow?
Yeah, I was on a walk the other day and seen it. It may have been repaired. It may have been a one-day thing. I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
hadn't thought to ask. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, the next Public Service Committee meeting is next Tuesday, the 12th, in the meeting room next door at 5 o'clock.
Shannon, do you have anything?
I just have a question. You said that now that the valve is in, waiting for the company to come and make the repairs, is this something that's outside of Mid-Ohio's capabilities? Or are they contracting it out, or what's going on?
Yeah, so it's going to be a third party that comes in and does it, and they want to do it on a weekend. So we're just working with them. I guess it's kind of an extensive fix, and yeah, probably out of the scope of anything that we can do. It's more specialized.
Did you bring enough for everybody?
Oh, man, I knew this was. I did not have time to eat dinner. I'm sorry. I was like, I'm bringing a power bar with me. It's going to be a long one.
John, do you have anything?
No, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, so I didn't get to attend any meetings.
Michael?
Public service meeting is March 12th, 5 p.m. in the room next door. Come on out.
City official reports. Pat, you have anything?
No, like I said, well, I do want to welcome John back and got to see you up and moving around and doing well, buddy.
Thank God.
I was keeping in close contact with your wife, and she was very nice to give me some updates.
Because I was out of it.
But like I said it before, I just appreciate the citizens and us doing that, and Michael Norman's help, and especially Eve. Like, what a wonderful presentation she put on. She's been such a great asset to the city since she's been here. But I do appreciate the citizens and the business owners and everybody taking the time to do that, and I won't take any more time.
Appreciate that. Rex, do you have anything?
Just real quick, Michael, I looked it up in the Madison Messenger. Bid opening on that project is March 12th at 10:50 at the courthouse.
March 12th.
Be there.
Next week.
Oh, man, March 12th is a busy day.
Okay.
And that's for the Lincoln project? Oh, the whole thing. Okay, thank you.
All right, now on to old business, up for third reading. Need a motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk?
Resolution 103-24, sponsored by Rich Hayes, a resolution authorizing the Board of Public Utilities to advertise for bids and enter into contract for the lease of the city farm.
Yes, this is 140 to 150 acres that city owns. Like to get it into contract so it can be leased, so we can get some farming going on there this year, hopefully. I do believe there's an emergency on this, and if it's to go to bid, we would have to pass as emergency to get it to bid with the emergency clause by the 15th of April. If we do not pass it as emergency, it's going to be 5/15 before we can get to bids, which I don't know where anybody's going to be planting May 15th or not,
But this is the third reading.
yes.
So if we adopt it tonight, we're in good shape,
Yes.
Yeah.
with or without the emergency clause.
Well,
Because if it goes into effect 30 days from now, that makes it April 7th.
that's 30 days to just allow for them.
Oh, but then you got to put the 5
advertising
weeks.
in.
I got you. I'm with you. Thank you.
What are council's wishes?
I say we adopt.
A second.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
All right, resolution 103-24 has passed. Up for a second reading. Need a motion to read
Make motion.
title and number, please.
So moved.
Resolution
Second. Sorry.
That's all right. Resolution 104-24, sponsored by Greg Eads, a resolution authorizing the auditor to transfer funds during 2024.
Every year, there are transfers that have to be made. This is part of the process. It happens every single year. You can see there's some large transfers in here. Police and fire pension, that has to happen. The fire capital fund was actually found to be a bit overfunded, so there's very little money that has to go to that. And then also, we are putting $200,000 into the fire fund at this point to help them get through, depending on, or regardless of the election that happens very soon. The $200,000 is going to go in there to help them at least carry through, hopefully, until after those results are known. And I know Councilman, or Chairman, pardon me, President Peters, I'm going to call him every other name, mentioned it earlier, but for those of you that are still paying attention, the ballot does not have the language that says 7 years on it. That was, I've looked into that. I've made the phone calls, I've talked to, or had emails back and forth with the law director. It was somehow dropped. It was not our fault that it was dropped. I don't believe. I mean, it could have been, but the language that came from this city council that was taken to the Board of Elections had the 7-year time limit, and that will still be enforceable regardless. We may just want to reiterate that if this passes later, that it is still 7 years. Just wanted to bring that up. So this is the second reading to make these transfers. The auditor would prefer that we go ahead and suspend the rules and pass these so this money can get transferred and she can put these in the correct line and suspend those.
I make a motion to suspend.
Second it.
Rich?
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer?
Yeah.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
All right, resolution 104-24 is passed.
Nope, that was to suspend.
Oh, I'm sorry, to suspend.
Suspend.
It's been a long night, sorry.
We got one more.
Make a motion to adopt.
Oh, my.
Second.
I know. Thanks. It might be more entertaining.
I will move to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay.
Councilwoman Trainer?
Yes.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Now, resolution 104-24 has passed. Need a motion to read by title number?
So be it.
Second.
Resolution 105-24, sponsored by Shannon Trainer. A resolution authorizing the auditor to increase appropriations and transfer funds.
So this is a transfer out of and into capital expenditures for much-needed street repairs around the city. That includes $461,000 reimbursement from the county for the tear down of the building. The street department has been sort of on hold since COVID, so a lot of these repairs are overdue, which is the reason for the large dollar amount.
Okay.
So,
Any questions? Council's wishes?
I make a motion to suspend.
second.
Councilman Hitt?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel?
No.
Councilman Eads?
I'm going to say no because I know that we have a list of streets that were going to come, I believe, at the finance meeting. I hope that happens, so no.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 105-24 will be kept on
For the third.
for a third reading. On to the next. Get a motion to read by title number.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 106-24, sponsored by Andrew Hitt, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So these are funds to allow the tax department to get software to allow citizens to file their taxes online. It's just a more efficient process and allows people a more convenient way of filing their taxes.
Is this something we're going to keep on?
I don't think there's any need to suspend.
Okay, on to the next. Motion to read by title number.
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 107-24, sponsored by Shannon Trainer, resolution increasing appropriations.
So it says on this resolution that this is for City Hall building maintenance. I'm not sure if that's just the fund that it needs to come out of, but this is actually expenditures for the lot over here next to the community center. There were 2 bids received, and this $45,000 appropriation would satisfy the lower of the 2 bids for additional fill dirt grading and seeding of that lot.
Is there an emergency measure on it?
There is.
I think there is because of Allscapes was the bidder, or not bidder, but the person that submitted the quote, and they're gonna get into, spring busy time, summer busy time, so I think we probably need to get them before they're busy.
A slight comment there. I don't think this had to be bid out. Well, I think they reached out to see what
Yeah,
these
bidding is
may.
not the right word
Right.
choice, so I apologize for
Yeah,
that.
no. So it wasn't bid out, but there was a number that's under the 75,000 threshold, and they are trying to get this done, I agree.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. The other thing is, I talked to them, and the emergency is on there also because we want to get it before they start getting busy and putting a bunch of mulch down. But the other thing is, he said, once you know for sure, I need to lock in the dirt price. So apparently that fluctuates like blacktop or whatever. And he was like, let me know as soon as possible so I can lock in that dirt price so it doesn't go up.
All right, I make a motion, we suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel,
No.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second. We're like leapfrogs up here. Blink and you'll miss us.
Councilman McDaniel,
No.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes.
Yes.
Resolution 107-24 is passed. On to the next. I get a motion to read by title number.
Motion.
Second.
Resolution 108-24, sponsored by Greg Eads, a resolution increasing appropriations.
So the police department has tried to stay on a rotation of replacing a cruiser or a vehicle every year. That happened last year. There was also at least one vehicle that was involved in an accident. That was mostly replaced out of insurance proceeds we received. There was an additional bit of money, but this keeps them on their schedule. There is not an emergency clause on this.
Has there been any questions from any citizens? Anybody get any questions from citizens about this expenditure? Has there been any?
I haven't heard any.
I have not.
Nothing? Is there any reason we shouldn't suspend the 3 reading rule?
Well, I'm sure the police department could use a cruiser. You know, they go 24/7, 365 a year. So,
Yeah, this is an
This is
unmarked
unmarked.
vehicle. Used by the detective mostly, I believe.
Is it 40,000?
45.
Wow, that's a lot for a heater with a beater. Okay.
Yes, it is. Well, I make a motion to suspend the 3 reading if there's been no questions from anybody in the general
Second.
public.
Second.
Councilman Eads,
No.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yeah.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
yes.
Councilman McDaniel.
No.
3rd reading.
Resolution 108-24 will be left on for a 3rd reading. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by title number?
Motion.
Second.
3rd.
Resolution 109-24, sponsored by Michael Norman, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director and/or the mayor to apply for various grants throughout the 2024 calendar year.
All right, so this is a resolution that will allow the Safety Service Director and the mayor to apply for various grants. That's exactly what you just said. Basically what she just said, but instead of in the past, we'd have to wait and do an emergency clause. This is to try to alleviate some emergency measures out there, and it unties the mayor and the Safety Service Director's hands. It is for applying only. If they receive it, they still have to come back and get approval. I just think it's a good business for us to do it that way. It might even provoke them to look at more grants than they've already looked at. So,
I agree with you. It's good.
Suspend.
Oh, did you say you're gonna suspend?
No, I asked if you were.
You,
You guys are always against him, so I'm just waiting to chime in.
I make the motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
there you go.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer?
Yeah.
Councilman Head?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
No.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Stahl?
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer?
Yes.
Councilman Head?
Yes.
Councilman Hayes?
Yes.
Councilman McDaniels?
Yes.
Councilman Eads?
Yes.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 109-24 has passed. On to new business.
That's my first one. Can I do a celebration? All right.
And only in 2 readings. Congrats.
And 2 readings. The Mr. Suspension guy that doesn't like, yeah, okay. We're gonna move past that.
New business, can I get a motion to read by title number?
So
So
be,
moved.
second, there.
Resolution 110-24, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution adopting the recommendations of the Tax Incentive Review Council.
Okay, this is a yearly thing that the Turk does with the businesses here in Atlanta that have the TIF agreement. In the CRA and TIF agreement. And everybody's in accordance, is that correct? Like all the, yeah, yep. So. This is also, the state requires to have this in by March 31st, so this is an emergency measure.
I do. You know, this is another thing that I feel, you know, we do this every year, and I tried to look for it for last year. I did find last year's, but I couldn't find the year before that. And every year it seems like we bring this as an emergency measure. And, you know, I did get a response from our law director. But, and of course, then I asked her a question of, you know, is this standard across the state? Are all municipalities having to be forced to put an emergency clause on this? Because the state is also saying, we want it by the 31st, but you're not giving us enough time to get the information in order to do it per the ORC. ORC says 3 readings, right? 3 readings, and then it goes into effect. And it just seems to me that, you know, I know we have to do this, and I'm not going to vote against it, but I think there's a problem here, and it may not just be with us, it may be with across the board, you know, with other municipalities, but I definitely think it's something we need to look at, because it doesn't make sense if we've got to get all this information, and then you bring it to us as council, and our rules are 3 readings, you know, you're tying, it's not against administration, it's not against anybody really, it's just the system's kind of screwed.
Is this something the county can, you know?
Your first thing, you have to wait on the corporations, the businesses that has the CRAs and TIFs to close out their books.
Right.
And to fill out the reports, submit it to the county. Then the county has to wait on the auditor's department to get all their books closed out. County, what is it? County
Right.
auditor, to get their books closed out and to do all the calculations to make sure that the TIFs were paid and the tax agreements were abided by. And you know, the county sets the date for the Turk committee to get together. Actually, one of the businesses, they submitted their report on February 29th. So,
and I get that. I get that.
It's just really, you know, the state doesn't have that issue to where they have to
Right.
know. I don't think the government, they're like a floating deadline, seems to me like continuing resolutions they do all the time, so.
Well, I just felt it was, and not on our level, but I think on the state level, it's pretty contradictory that they give us rules. This is how you do it. But then we're going to give you a deadline that there's no way you can meet it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and also on top of that, we understand that you guys want stuff fast. You guys don't want to suspend, things of that nature. And that's why we went ahead and sent it to you so we could get one reading in, right? And then now it'll go to finance, and then hopefully you guys suspend and pass at the next meeting because it's due by the 31st. But, we're doing what we can with what we got, right? So, it was as fast as we could get it done and get it to you guys.
Well, I'm sure my email was, but it.
No, man, Michael, or I'm sorry, Councilman Norman, if you have questions, send them, man. That's what we like, and especially before the meeting. Now you could explain yourself instead of trying to ask us the questions now. I appreciate that more than trying to come up with an answer or, if we don't have everything in front of us. So you were able to get the answers, and now we know it was going to be brought up, and we can talk about everything on our end. But
Question, what if something happens, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Say something happens and 3 or 4 of us are not here next meeting.
All right.
So as the mayor said, I believe this is on the agenda for the Finance Committee, correct? And I do have questions that I was going to ask about the procedure, and I'm willing to let that go to the Finance Committee just because I see where we've extended some times and I don't understand. Unless you want to address these things tonight, if you have enough knowledge to do that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So we'll leave resolution 110-24 on for second reading. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by title number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 111-24, sponsored by Andrew Head, a resolution authorizing the Safety Service Director to advertise for bids and enter into contract for Americans with Disability Act ADA compliant ramps throughout the city.
This applies to the grant that was attained by Susan Thompson and Eve Breedlove to put ramps throughout the town, handicap ramps. And it's just to allow the Safety Service Director to enter into advertise their bids and enter into contract to have that work done.
Is there a deadline on those?
Rex will speak on that. We finally had a meeting with Susan about it, so I'll let him speak on that.
Yeah, Ms. Thompson came in and had a meeting with us and stressed the urgency to address to council to try to get this process moving as fast as possible, because we're heading into the spring and summer months. Contractors are going to be loaded up, and there is time restraints on when she can spend the money. So we have to have those receipts in. And, she said, her comment was, I'm sure the city doesn't want to miss out on $204,000.
And it is administered through them, through the Board of DD. So they will be administering it. We'll go through the process, and then we submit to them, and then they pay the invoices.
So clarifying that, it's not our money. We don't control the money, but council has to let the city put this out for bid because they won't, because the projects are in the City of London.
I guess I don't know the answer to that necessarily.
I mean, could they have put it out to bid? Or because this is city property and within the City of London, we have to do this?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, the way she explained it is that because the villages got money too. Like,
Right.
I know different areas got money, and this is the process that they're doing. She just said, I think it's almost, I guess it could be like the CDBG, right? So like, we have to get approval by you guys to do it or whatever, and then it's kind of administered through someone else. But yeah, she just said the faster we could get going, the better. They've already went through the process on one of the pieces, and you know, it sounds like she was able to get through it fairly quick, and she believed that's because she's on the front end and everybody isn't getting bombarded right now with the requests yet.
I know Plain City, just their last meeting, they just did exactly what we're doing now, and it was Susan Thompson that was there, because I was reading the minutes from it, and it's the same situation over there as we have here.
It's where council's wishes.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
I'll second it.
Councilman Eads,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yeah.
Councilman Stoll,
Yes.
Councilman Norman.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second. I second. I'll third it and
You're
fourth.
stepping on toes over there. He's stepping on toes if he keeps seconding things.
Gotta be quick.
Councilman McDaniels,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yes.
Councilman Stoll,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Eads.
In honor of the people that have brought this up before, including Tommy Boyd, a resounding yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Great. Resolution 111-24 is passed. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
Motion.
Second.
Resolution 112-24, sponsored by Michael Norman, a resolution increasing appropriations.
Yes. Everybody likes fireworks. I like them anyways. So during the public service meeting, we had to approve them. We did increase it from 20,000 to 25,000 this year because of inflation. We want to have a good show. I know everybody's gonna. There is an emergency clause on this, or emergency measure, because the supplier that we're using books up very quickly. And if we don't get in, we just don't get in. It could be it's one of those issues of if we don't get our spot, we could lose out the whole show. So there is an emergency measure on it. I know, you're like, that's really all I have to say about that. Any questions?
4th of July is not that far away.
4th of July is not that far away.
I gotta ask this question. When are the fireworks this year?
Not on council night, July 4th.
What?
July 4th is Thursday night
No.
this year.
We go on July 3rd. We always do it on July 3rd because you literally get more bang for your buck, right? So everybody wants to have it on the
July 3rd?
4th, so you get better deals doing it on the 3rd, and that's what the city of London has done for a very long time, that it's always been on the 3rd.
That's right.
Yeah.
Our council meeting is on the 4th this year. It's on Thursday.
Well,
So I got to-
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call off on that one, so I
Okay.
won't see that.
I'm just letting everybody know about that.
Huh?
You calling everybody off?
That's up for your president. You're more welcome to have that discussion.
I feel a cold.
You know what? I think you guys should all be off that night.
We will.
Look at you, always the politician over there. I think you all should be on.
It's where council's wishes.
I'd make a motion to bypass the 3 reading rule on it.
Second.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Trainer,
Yeah.
Councilman Stoll,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Eads,
Yes.
Councilman McDaniel,
No.
Councilman Hayes.
Yes. Motion to adopt.
Comment first. I do have reservations about raising this money by a penny when we're still worried about whether or not the fire department's going to function. And it's not the only thing. There's lots of things that this worries me, but I do understand that the prices have went up and we're going to have fireworks one way or the other this year. May not happen next year, but who knows? That's my comment. Thank you.
A second.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilman Hitt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Shiner,
Yes.
Councilman Stahl,
Yes.
Councilman Norman,
Yes.
Councilman Deeds,
Yes?
Councilman McDaniel,
Yes.
Okay, resolution 112-24 is passed. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
Yes.
Second.
Getting tired, man. Been a long night.
Resolution 113-24, sponsored by Josh Peters, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2024.
Yeah, so this is the yearly resolution, basically, so we get on the state road salt contract for the year. They haven't given us a deadline yet, but we're trying to be proactive here. Normally, I think what law director sent you earlier, Michael, was the deadlines for this.
I know, I read it.
Yeah, so we don't know when the deadline is, but we just want to have this in pass before that.
This allows for cheaper rates too, isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if we don't pass that, I mean, we could.
Yeah, it could be
a couple
about $40 to
$100.
$50 a ton more, almost double. I brought this early because of council's trends not wanting to suspend. So we can leave this on the 3 readings. I actually would prefer you to leave it on the 3 readings, but I need the emergency clause still to meet the deadline.
So to go in.
And the reason I want to leave it on is because I used last year's wording for the legislation. If they change it, we may have to amend what's in this legislation. I'm hoping that around the 15th, they'll release what the legislation should look like.
So just let me say this.
Yeah.
This resolution, as it's being presented tonight, is not what was brought before the committee. And I kind of have an issue with that.
What are you talking about?
There was no emergency measure
No.
brought to the committee, and what we approved at the committee was one without an emergency measure.
And I was going to sponsor.
The original, and I don't.
I thought for sure I addressed
No.
that because I
In
said
fact-
if we
in fact,
don't
your-
have it,
In fact, your exact words were reluctantly, so that, because I know you guys don't want to do emergency
well,
measures.
you can take the
I'm
emergency
breaking-
measure off and then we won't do the contract. It's whatever you want to do.
Well,
It has to be
I'm
on
just-
there.
listen.
Whether I brought it in the meeting or not, I brought it early so that you don't have to do the suspension. I apologize, I didn't spell out that it has to be emergency. I guess maybe I thought I implied it. I apologize if it wasn't clear, but it absolutely has to. And I want you to take 3 readings so that you don't have to suspend it strictly. And I think I did say that because you may, if you pass it early,
We may
and
have to come back.
We may have to come back.
And then we would have
We
to
did
put
talk
an
about
emergency
that.
measure.
So,
Right, we did.
yeah.
But here's my concern. It's a slippery slope, right? If we let this go through when it wasn't something we approved through the committee, then down the road, what's the next thing that we let go through?
Well, then take the emergency clause off. Tell them, amend it and take it off. And then you'll have to amend it and put it back on before you pass it.
Wasn't there a question, wasn't there a question about when the state has their required date for bids also?
Yeah, we don't know when that is
We're
yet.
waiting on that information.
We just
So
I mean,
to
that's
make
up in
you
the
feel
air.
better, Michael, I would.
No, it's not, no, don't,
I'm
let's
serious.
let's not make it like that. What I'm saying is, we brought, let's say it's not this specific, legislation. But if you bring legislation to the committee and we approve it in committee, what you bring, and then we get to council and there's something added to it, this time it's it's an emergency measure. Maybe next time it's an extra line of something we didn't know about,
Well, here's the thing, Michael. Now you're saying that we're going to add extra lines and put.
I'm saying it could happen.
Put pork fat in or whatever you want to call it, right? We thought it was discussed. If it wasn't, we apologize for it not being discussed. We've explained why that it has to be in there, because we don't want to pay double for salt next year. So that's why we are being more proactive.
You are.
And we did this, just like we talked about with the piece earlier, that we talked about how with the Turk, right? And we're going
Right.
to take it to council, take it to committee now. So we're bringing this early. They haven't even emailed us yet.
Right.
But we know it's coming because the past says that it's going to email this, because we wanted you to have the full 3 readings. But we will need the emergency clause on it, so it takes effect immediately, so we can get in on that bid. If
Okay.
we did not tell you that, we apologize, but we thought we did. So, and I mean, please don't think that we're going to add extra lines or, make
Well,
that
I'm
statement
not-
to make it
I'm
seem
not-
like that's something we would do. That's not what we're
No,
here to do.
I'm not saying specifically this administration or any future, or anyone here, but I'm just saying in the future, if we had someone who would do something like that, we kind of open the door for that to happen.
Well, yeah, but I think your statement was that, that you would put in an extra line at some point.
You could. That's
You
what I-
said you, which is me, and which is
Well,
him, right? And that's what
I
I'm
meant
saying.
you as in the
Like,
person who
I
brought
think,
the
I think we're,
legislation.
I don't want to go off on a
We're
tangent,
good.
but I think we're starting to work together better. I want to have a good relationship with city council. We're doing these extra things because we understand how you guys want to run your meeting and be able to have readings and things of that nature. But, I think you guys had your meeting with Jennifer Hitt, and she explained the emergency clause very well. And this is one of the things that we want to make sure that it's on there, because we do not want to miss this, because this will save the city quite a bit of money.
Right.
Especially with the tonnage that we usually get.
Okay, we'll leave that one on. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Resolution 114-24, sponsored by Brett McDaniel. A resolution assessing the cost of the removal of high grass and weeds.
Yeah, this is so the city can be reimbursed for mowing lawns when people refuse to, putting it on their property taxes. So cut your grass.
Cut your grass.
Very simple. Grass, you get charged $175, it looks
Yeah,
like.
it's cheaper to cut it yourself, but
Is that just one cutting, or is that multiple cuttings, those prices? Do you know?
I believe these are repeat offenders.
Okay, so it's-
Same ones
There
every
was,
year.
there was a few that there was multiple cuts. Not very, I think there was only a couple that was multiple cuts.
That's all past summer?
Yeah.
And why do 2 of the addresses have no address? Unless it's just like a lot beside it?
lot. It's a lot.
a lot beside a
Yeah.
house
Yeah,
that's,
that's why it has a parcel number.
okay.
A lot with a lot of grass.
A lot of grass, there you go. There is no emergency measure on this, is that correct?
No.
Okay. Do you wish to suspend the rules, Mr. McDaniels? Just asking, you can.
No, that's okay.
It doesn't have to have an emergency measure. No? Okay.
He wants to have.
It was brought early enough.
Okay.
Okay, on to the next one. Can I get a motion to read by title and number?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 115-24, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending section 1464 of the codified ordinance.
This has to do with appropriate time notice prior to a hearing date for planning, building, zoning. We want to make it 21 days, since we don't have a newspaper here anymore. Daily newspaper, staying corrected. We'd like to move this and change it to 21 days.
Is that an increase in days, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Increasing days.
Any discussion on this? All right. We'll save that one. On to the next. Can I get a motion to read by name and title, please?
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 116-24, sponsored by Rich Hayes, an ordinance amending section 1244 of the codified ordinance.
This is basically the same thing. This has to do with the appropriate time notice prior to a hearing date for planning, zoning, any type of meeting that we'd be having. We want to change it to 21 days.
This is for the appeals, correct? Is
I believe-
this different? This is for the appeals
This is for
procedure?
the appeals.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
This is for appeals, correct?
Okay. Yep.
Easier to remember.
Yep.
It's good. It's a good deal.
Okay, leave that one on. To get a motion to read by title and number.
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance 117-24, sponsored by Rich Hayes, and ordinance amending section 1242 of the codified ordinances.
This is just to line our structure line up with other municipalities within the county, so our fees are comparable with theirs.
This is to mirror West Jefferson's rates, is that right?
I think it's the whole
County.
department,
It's for the whole county.
the whole department.
Right.
It's not-
We're just trying to line everybody up, the county, West Jefferson, the city of London, line it all up.
Give us an even playing field, is that what you said when you brought it? It gives us an even playing field. Nobody has any advantage versus anybody else.
Let's lower these fees and tilt the playing field.
Yeah, we might need that.
So I looked at this. I mean, this looks like a wholesale change on some of these things, right? On how it's done, like, so residential, all buildings have $100 fee for well, it says all buildings. And then when you get down below, it's residential building permit fees and 1, 2, 3, new dwelling, whatever that means, $100 plus $10 per square foot. So if you build a 3,000 square foot facility, you're gonna add $300 to this 100. And that's like a wholesale change from what we were doing. Before it was just flat, right?
Yes.
Okay. But this is what the county's doing or, yeah, and do we have any documents that shows what the county does? We don't have to have them today because I think we'll leave this on, but,
No.
okay.
But they did send me West Jeff's, and they said the county was going to follow suit and adopt everything, it's a wholesale change. So they started with West Jeff, and then they've moved to, I think, county and then us. I don't know, the county may have already adopted theirs.
Okay, and we're not, I mean, I think we're leaving this on, and I don't know if anybody, any input or allowed any builders to have any comments on this. You know, whether or not our county is in line with Franklin County or Pickaway or anybody else, you know, if we're.
All that I know is Tom told me that we were way, way, way cheaper than anybody. And he said that we were leaving lots of dollars on the table, so he felt it was best to get it, at least in the county, a level playing field.
And the money that's generated here goes where?
Goes back into the building, it goes to pay for their services.
The
for one
building and
thing.
zone,
Yeah.
the building and zoning fund that we have, that
Right.
we
Right.
contract for them.
Right.
We contract them.
And what that is helping us to do is we no longer have to support that fund with general transfers. The fund should have enough to be kind of self-sustaining. But then, you know, you go through periods where building stops, then we'll have to, you know, you don't bring money in either, so.
Okay.
Or slows.
Okay, on the round table. Michael, we'll start with you tonight.
Well, first I'd like to thank, I mean, everybody's gone now, but those of you who stayed, you were the true warriors right there. And I appreciate that you stayed, and I appreciate that you came out. I mean, wasn't it great to be able to come up or have the microphone handed to you and say what you needed to say? Nothing may come of it, right? We all know that. It could happen. But on the other hand, something could. So you got a chance to say something. And you know, that's why I ran. I really, really, truly want to hear from out there. And I think in general, that's the general thought with our local government. We want to do the right thing. And I just, I'm excited that I've seen that many people come out. I mean, I probably won't go to bed till 4 or 5 tonight because I'm hyped about it. Well, and the Mountain Dew probably didn't help
3
either.
bottles of Mountain Dew.
Quite. So I know it's been a long evening, but, there is something I want to talk about. We went to a seminar, Mr. McDaniels and I, Councilman McDaniels and I, in December, and the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio said this phrase, and it just sticks with me. And I've been going out door to door and informing people about the ballot, the issue coming on the ballot. And what the Lieutenant Governor said is that our progress will move at the speed of trust. This is the 4th time we've had it on the ballot, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going door to door, and I'm talking to people. Here's what's going to happen. Here's what might happen. It's not even a might happen anymore. We're pretty much sure what is going to happen. And there is a trust issue out there, and it's not just against the administration. It's not just against council. It's our local government. Our local government right now, the people that I talk to. Not all of them. This isn't a blanket statement, but quite a few. There's a little bit of a trust issue. I talked to him about the ballot. I'm like, hey, it's a 7-year temporary ballot. No, it's not. No, it's not, Councilman Norman. No, it's not. It says right here, there's nothing that says any different. So, the trust. So I'm asking them when I go out to trust me that I'm telling you the truth. And a lot of people feel that we've failed them in the past on other things that we've done. And, I hear it. And like I said, it's not a blanket statement, but there's quite a few. And enough that you notice. And if there's enough that you notice, then there's enough that we should be concerned, right? So I think we need to work on that. I think we need to make sure that we're transparent, make sure that and we are working on it, I think. I've seen it. And I love I'm getting to the point where I actually like the administration, I'm getting to that point. But, I have been out there and, there's things that I don't feel we're doing quite right. I get a little upset when I'm out there talking and I run into someone who rents an office here in the building and has 24-hour access, pretty much. And you know what my access is? We are the legislative members. We make the legislation. Half hour before the meeting, we can get in the doors. Is that what it is? Half hour. That's it. If I want to schedule a meeting here, I have to call the administrative assistant and go, hey, Eve, can you, is this date free? And I'm not saying that I should just be able to come in here and have my way, but come on. We need a spot. If we are part of the, could you imagine if the mayor had to call and be like, can I use my office today? That ain't going to happen. We need that same courtesy given to us as council. We need a work area. Our clerk, before we moved here, our clerk had an address. It was 120 South Main Street. If you needed to get a hold of her, that's where you went. That's where you mailed something. Where do you mail it now?
102, I think.
What?
I think it was 102.
Was it 102? I'm sorry, 102. My bad. Dyslexia. But the point is, there was an address for her, or for the person filling that spot. We don't have that now. You send it to 20 North Walnut. It's in our code. It's in our code of coded. I was looking on something totally different. It said, if you have any issues with this, get a hold of the clerk at 102 South High. But the point is, right now, who do you send it to? We don't have a spot. There is no designated location. And then I'm going to quit there because, it's been a long night. But I would like to say that we have a public service meeting. It's coming on the 12th. It's at 5 p.m. I also have a Ward 3 community meeting that I'll actually have here because I called and asked to schedule it. It'll be March 27th at 7 p.m. And I invite not just the Third Ward, but anybody out there that wants to come. And it's very informal. We talk about what you want to talk about. I'm going to try to get someone to come in and, give us a talk about the different things that are going on in the city. But other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Chris.
Councilman Norman?
Yes.
The minutes from December 7th for ordinance 232-23 and 233-23 shows the 7 years and that it was approved by council. If you want a copy of that, I can email it to you and you can take it around.
Oh, I did. I did have it.
Okay, I just wanted to
But
make
the
sure.
question that comes in, and here's the question I'm getting, and this is a legitimate question from the people, is, okay, that's what you have in your ordinance, but what, which overrides what authority? That, I understand that, and you understand that, but the general public sees it as whatever it says on the ballot, that's what it is. And they're seeing it as it's a permanent tax. And I'm telling you, if you're watching, it's not a permanent tax. It's 7 years, then it has to be renewed. It has to be voted. Sorry, I'm done. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
John?
Thank you, Chris.
This is the last meeting before the elections. I encourage everybody to go out and vote, period, and then vote for the levy. We need it very badly. That's all.
Yeah, just briefly, I started conversations with the law director about the possibility of proposing a municipal transient occupancy tax, otherwise a hotel tax, before we get some of the B&Bs and some other builders and developers in here. So it's, we're back and forth with that right now, so hopefully we can come up with something that will be an additional source of revenue for the city.
Andy?
I have nothing.
Okay. March 12th, 6 p.m., conference room for the public safety meeting. I just want to thank all of our city employees, our police officers, our firemen, everybody for jobs well done. I want to thank council tonight. It's been a long night. Y'all did a great job. Really proud of you. Last Wednesday, we had, I was woke up by the sirens, and I've been praying before I went to bed because I knew there were storms coming. And I just asked the Lord to put a shield over London, protect our people, and He did. Our county got hit, but London didn't suffer any major hit. Nobody was hurt, thank God. And I went out and looked at the damage. There's a lot of damage out there, but the main thing, you can replace all that, but you can't replace a life. And we didn't lose anybody in these storms, and I'm just thankful that, to a higher power. And with that, I will say this, Election Day's coming up. Can't say a whole lot, but remember this, 3 minutes could be the difference between life and death. A life is worth what you have to take care of. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out today.
All right, Brent?
Yeah, I'd also like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think it was great having a town hall meeting about the Strawberry Festival before any decisions were made. So can we also get a town hall meeting before we give away our $60 million water facilities? That would be nice.
Greg?
Well, I wasn't done yet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You stalled us.
After attending another training session, was it Saturday? It was an all-day training session too. But I'm really liking the idea of having a charter. I think we should start the process of maybe looking into that. So it gives the people more power, more say-so in how their governments ran. It streamlines problem-solving and saves a lot of money and saves a lot of emergency clauses, saves a lot of waste. I mean, I could go on about it, but I would like to get that going, you know? So, and it has been a long night. I'll hold the other one for next meeting. Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you.
Runner up.
Vince Morris, I hope you don't have a complex now because as you spoke, the room emptied. And there wasn't anything to do with you. Those people were done with the part they wanted. But I just watched that whole line of people depart behind you. I do appreciate your coming tonight to speak about the issues that bother you. Rick, I appreciate you coming too. The other two, we see them an awful lot, but I don't see you here very often, and I appreciate you coming also. One quick question, as I know there's a lot of people in London, or in Ohio, a lot of municipalities, villages, counties, they're getting prepared for the equinox. And I had someone reach out to me and ask me where he could get glasses if we're doing that.
That's the Chevy, and I wouldn't recommend it.
What?
I was thinking he was going to buy
Yeah,
a
not the
Chevy.
Equinox, I'm sorry, yes, I'm sorry.
Long night, Greg, long night.
It is. Well, the equinox happens every month, but this does not. So anyway, I had someone ask if the city's going to do anything, if we're going to have glasses available. I think that's a great idea. I don't know if anybody in the county's doing that, where those can be found. And if you know, I could foresee a small business wanting to help make a donation if we can get glasses for those people for that.
So we have spoke about that. The library is doing it, and I believe they'll give you up to 7 pairs for your family. So
Okay.
the library's doing it. So we just, you know, we didn't want to double the efforts and then be stuck with a bunch of glasses. But, you know, I'd say feel free to reach out to the library and see how many they have, how many, you know, are they getting low? Would they like a donation? Also, with our partnership with COSI, we do the Learning Lunch Boxes, which is a box that has experiments and different things in it. And this year is about the eclipse, so we should be getting those in soon. So we'll be giving learning lunch boxes to every second grader at London Elementary, and then some to St. Pat's, and then I believe we're going to try to give some to Fairhaven, and then anything left over we're going to give to the library. So while they're handing them out, they can give them out to the kids, any that we have extra.
You answered his question, but you didn't answer mine. Can we get a town hall about the giveaway?
Hey, you can, it's your council, you guys can do whatever you want. I don't know why you're asking me.
Okay.
We asked Josh to have this town meeting
I
tonight.
did forget one thing. Does anybody know the status of the $5 million grant and where that's at?
The $5 million
For the police
grant,
department?
for the
Yeah,
state.
for the police department.
Still going through the budget. I don't know. On the budget. Right.
Okay, because I thought their fiscal year is October to October, right? Is it June to June? For federal? Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, so we haven't received it yet then? Okay.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been a long night. Remember, levy coming up, just a reminder, it's on earned income for the levy. So if you're on Social Security, disability, you know, you're not being taxed on it. Retirement, so please everyone go out and vote. That's all I have. So we got a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
They are awful. I make a motion to get better seats.
I bought, I get Charlie horse.
You need those ones, you need the ones with the little massager on the back of it. Then you'll hear the.
Like, I have such long, I'm as stiff as a board.
That heater, man, that thing kicks on and it's over. Nothing. Nathan, thanks for letting me have that pen.
Sorry.
Oh, I've always got 1,000 in that bag.
I had a couple other things I was going to do the next round table.
Because I know they have like 3 or 4.
I haven't heard anything bad about